Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5 The Zone. Welcome in on a Tuesday morning. Well, the Utah Mammoth, who were so good in the third period and who were so good in overtime, have kind of lost that magic. Maybe they'll get it back. Maybe in a week, maybe in a month. Who knows? That's why we watch live unscripted drama, right? So they go to Anaheim, and they're up 2-1 because they scored in the third period to take the lead. Very good, midway through the third period. And then they give up a goal with 5 seconds left. That sends it to overtime where they give up another goal and they lose. Yeah, it was that kind of night. Let's get more with the best of the postgame show.
DJ and PK, tough one for the Mammoth on Monday night in Anaheim. Ducks tied it with under 5 seconds left and then won it in overtime. 3-2 the final as Utah starts a quick 2-game road trip. It starts a busy stretch of 21 games over 36 nights. Headed into Christmas, they won't go more than 1 day between games. So they take the point, 10-7-2 on the season. They will be in San Jose coming up tonight at 8. We'll be on the air right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone at 7 o'clock with Hockey Night in Utah. Ducks took a 1-0 lead in the first period, and that lead would hold until late in the second. 22 minutes and 22 seconds of game time before Dylan Guenther got his 8th of the year, his 3rd goal in 6 games, and got Utah on the board.
With a button hook move on Johnston, Schmidt pulls it to his backhand, now to his forehand. Pass across, one-timer from Guenther, and he scores! Dylan Guenther labels one into the back of the net, and it's tied at 1.
And then Logan Cooley, just ahead of the halfway point of the third, took a great feed from Mikhail Sergachev and gave Utah their first lead of the night.
Upstairs it goes, Sergachev, one-timer from Cooley, and he scores! Out of the slump and into the lead, Logan Cooley breaks a goalless drought and puts the Mammoth in front. It's 2-1 with 10:41 left in the third.
But the Ducks, 6-on-5 with an extra attacker, tied it and then won it, 150 into overtime. Utah now against Anaheim all-time, 1 win, no regulation losses, and 3 losses in overtime or a shootout. 1-0-3 against the Ducks. 4 straight 1-goal game between the two teams. 3 of the 4 have gone past regulation, and Utah having a lead in all 4 games against Anaheim. Tough team to crack so far, and all time for Utah, but the NHL has had their struggles against the Ducks as well. Anaheim now 12-6-1 on the year, 6-1 at home. We heard from head coach Andre Turney after this one.
Well, obviously we played good at 5-on-5. It's just frustrating the way it happened at the end. I think it's we lose one battle, and I don't think we gave up much before that chance and puck in the back of our net, and 3-on-3 that can go either way, and that's exactly what happened. We give up one rush and puck in the back of our net.
We've talked about some of the youth like Gunnar and Cooley getting generated. Can you speak to their goals and obviously their performance tonight?
Yeah, I like Cool's the way he played both sides of the puck. I think he stayed with it. He was composed, and I think he played a really good game. And happy for him, he got a reward. And Gunnar played good in the last couple of games, and was no different today. He won battles, and he played with a lot of intensity. So it's good for him to get a reward as well.
Was there just a little something that could have been done better to finish this game off and close it?
Well, we didn't have our execution. I think we had a lot of possession, a lot of opportunity where we didn't connect on our play, we didn't execute. So I think our thought process, our inner work ethic, everything was good. I think we progressed during the game, and little thing we had to do to defend them. I think that part was good, but we'll have needed a little bit more execution.
On the positive side, did you think the goaltending was pretty good in this?
Yeah, I think it was a good game. I think if you look at the game, it was really a really good team, and we were nose to nose with them. It's an overtime game.
So another standings point for the Mammoth, but another 2-1 game that just kind of gets away in the third period. And it's come in non-5-on-5 situations. Utah, for the second straight game, allowing just one 5-on-5 goal and spoiling a great start from Karel Vejmelka, who in the contest on Monday night stopped 23 of the first 24 shots that he saw before the 6-on-5 goal and the 3-on-3 goal. Friday against the Islanders in the overtime loss, he allowed just one 5-on-5 goal, a 4-on-4 goal, and a 3-on-3 goal in overtime. So the overtime bug biting Utah for the second straight game, as we heard from Captain Clayton Keller after the contest as well.
There's going to be adversity going into overtime, and like I said, we'll learn from it.
What are some of the positives that you did see from this group, especially towards the late end of that game?
Yeah, I think as the game went on, I think the Lions got going. We had some extended zone time. We got some more pucks than that. We tried to do our job on the track as much as we could. They're a fast team. They play really a skilled game, and they work hard. So I was proud of how we did that.
How important was the goaltending in this game?
Yeah, Veggie's been great all year. He makes, key saves at, the right times, and, we love playing in front of him, and, got to do a better job for him on both of the, last goals.
Did you think that the momentum in the game shifted? It seemed like they came out pretty strong, and then after you got a goal, things kind of took over a little bit.
Yeah, I think it was back and forth, honestly. But yeah, there's going to be times in the game when both teams have some momentum, and it's what you do to try to break that momentum and get your game going.
So on to San Jose, as we said, 8 p.m. face-off tonight. We're talking all about it on today's edition of Mammoth Daily. We'll get Mike's morning after from the scene in Anaheim. We'll break it all down, get you ready for San Jose, and it's a Tuesday mailbag edition, our busiest day of the week on Mammoth Daily, wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, and now on the Utah Mammoth Team YouTube page. So check that out after DJ and PK, and we'll talk to you coming up tonight for another edition of Hockey Night in Utah.
All right, there's the best of the postgame show. When we come back, Bronco Mendenhall, Kyle Whittingham, Kalani Sitake. We'll hear from the football coaches heading into another big week. Stay with us right here on The Zone. DJ, PK, and we're joined now by Bronco Mendenhall, Utah State football coach. Bronco, good morning.
Good morning.
I know after 24 hours you're supposed to shake it off and move on to the next game, but Bronco, I think that one would be a little harder to shake off than most games.
Oh, I'm not sure it's shake-offable. That one's going to last a long time, and it needs to. Doesn't mean that as a grown-up and young people, we don't need to be resilient and move on to the next one, and life demands that. But there's also, sometimes there's just experiences in your life that they don't go away. And for the team, for the players, for the program, really, really believed we were not only going to win, but win it multiple times. And that was difficult.
You remember years ago you said you go into games, you prepare, you study, you do all this stuff, and then you get there and the game turns out nothing like you anticipate. And I remember you said that, and that stuck with me all these years. And so the fact that you lost obviously does sting. But the thing that in Vegas, of all places where you bet, there's no way I would have bet that your defense held them down to the level that it did. I mean, if you would have won the game, I would have thought it would be high scoring, and yet really it wasn't, especially considering that, at the end there, those points came in overtime. But that was just shocking to me, the way the game played out.
The preparation of our defense and the momentum they're generating has been remarkable. And 23 points in regulation, 29 total is the fewest they've had. That's with 2 overtimes, the fewest points they've scored the entire year against anyone. And to your point, I'm never sure how the game is going to play out once we kick it off. We had planned and prepared for a game just like that. We didn't know what the score was going to be, but we knew it was going to come down to someone kicking it at the end or trying to get a 4th down stop or something. Never imagined we'd have a short field goal with 2 seconds left in control, and then it's overtime, and they missed the field goal, and we don't put it through again. The defense just over and over and over again in that game answered the call and held them to field goals or 4th down stops or turnovers, and just super proud of them. And the entire organization went ready to win the game, viewing it as a title fight, and really knew that winning that game kept us in the Mountain West Conference championship race, and the kids really believed that was possible.
You're famous for saying there's 4 or 5 plays that turn a game, but I feel like this is a game where there were 10 or 12, and you might tell me, well, I've watched the film and there were 20 or 30, and I'd probably believe you if you said that because there were so many crazy things that happened. There was a moment early in the game, and obviously if this had happened, everything would have unfolded differently afterwards. But you get the touchdown, and there's a penalty on them, and it moves at half the distance to the goal. And immediately, I forget who it was, but the analyst on the TV broadcast is like, oh, this is a chance to go for 2. When you get that penalty, you got to think about that. Did you think about it? How close did you come to doing it? Because obviously you kicked the 1.
No, just split second, but I didn't think it was really relevant at that point. And a single point would matter. We missed an extra point early in the game. And again, as everyone's already been well documented, we were 10 for 10 of field goals with no mixed extra points the entire year. And it's been really a strength of our team. And I just believed we'd play well enough and we would get the point back at some point. And I just didn't feel like that was the time.
I was wondering about the play calling, particularly after UNLV didn't score in the first overtime, because I was unsure of what was going on with the confidence of the kicker. Could you speak to that?
We relatively conservative, as you saw, and just believed we were already in range. And the history of the season, even though it wasn't going well that game, just like I couldn't make myself believe we weren't going to put that one through, and that the average would back out to how we truly are capable and how we would truly kick. And so, more conservative than probably anyone would have liked. Really, just believed he would make the kick.
The conservative didn't surprise me, but I guess what surprised me was that the running plays weren't for Bryson Barnes because it gives you an extra blocker, obviously, and obviously he just had the long TD run. He actually had a couple good runs before the long TD run, so I thought maybe you gave him a break there that they didn't have to stop the thing they didn't seem capable of stopping.
Yeah, I think it's a point well taken. The number of shots and his physical status at that time, he was basically carrying the load by himself. And he just, I'm sure Coach McGiven and Matt Johns, our quarterback coach, were looking, as I was, just, how much more can he do? And so there was a fine line in there that I'm sure weighed into that.
If I told you that you could get Bryson Barnes back for another year, but you had to give up at least 1 or 2 years of your life, would you still say yes?
Well, that's an easy trade. I'm taking him every time because the quality, right? The quality of those years, that's going up.
There you go.
I'm going quality over quantity.
I got to admit, when he started in on it, I thought he was going to go with Ronnie Lott's Pinky story again.
No, I'm talking
I know.
right to the end there, the big life. Yeah, I mean, the kid is just amazing. You got to love the way he plays.
The number, he was sacked 7 times in that game, and the number of hits even after he's delivering it, and then he has a quarterback draw for about 70, and then he scrambles at the end and puts us in field goal range. I shared with him over the weekend that I'm not sure I've ever seen a player at that position play as courageously, as resilient and determined week after week after week. It's a privilege to be his coach.
He has been your leading rusher, I think, in 4 games this year, and hasn't missed a game, which in this era we're seeing quarterbacks get hurt all the time. And we actually have a former Aggie quarterback, Riley Jensen, who comes on the air, and he says it depends on which coach you talk to, but most coaches are trying to figure they let a guy, they'll 6 or 8 design runs, and then they figure 6 or 8 times the kid's going to take off or take a big hit in the pocket, and that's all the hits they want. And to your point, Barnes had 22 carries in the official stats.
Yeah, 22 carries, and that's not including
getting hit after he throws or as he throws.
Getting hit after or as he throws, and if you could just watch the number of those hits throughout the course of the season, I don't see guys getting up from those as we're watching opponents or other college football games. And the daily example of just fierce toughness and getting off the mat over and over again is just, it's remarkable. And for more than anyone, I would love this season. I'd love to go on the road in Fresno and play well and win. I'd love to have Boise come in for our last game and play well and win. Love for him to get a chance in postseason to play well and win, just because of everything that he's done for this program and who he is.
Well, to me, that would be an easy way, not easy, but at least a reasonable way to put this game behind you, because bowl eligibility is on the line, and you just spoke to it right there. So I would think the team would be able to gather itself and get the focus necessary to play Fresno State.
Oh, I think they will, and young people are resilient. But I also know in my team meeting this morning, right, they're hurting because of what they put in, and we basically had won the game twice, and that was the shocking part to everyone, is walking off knowing that in almost every phase we had played well enough, and their preparation held, and it was a significant kind of moment for this team and the program, and then we didn't win, and so it stung. And the team was quiet and they're somber. They'll be resilient and focused, and they will respond. But I also have to be realistic in letting that process play out. And I was asked after the game, I don't know, what that looks like. And there's a pretty typical model in the world of social science, right? That usually starts with anger or sadness, and then denial, like, man, that didn't happen, or that couldn't have happened, right? And then a withdrawal where you need just a minute to kind of get it together. And then there's acceptance where you reframe it and then you go. And I think what sports teaches so much is, because we play next week, right? We're into the next opponent today. You're not really allowed a lot of time to work through that process. And so you learn to expedite that. My wife gets furious with me because I'm a fast mover on her, but I've been trained to do that, because so many rely on me to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And so we're passing that on to young people, but also, they have till tonight, right, when we actually practice or start moving through what our opponent does. And they're still working through that process, and we all have to go through it. And then there's kind of a look in their eye or a way they carry themselves where you can see, okay, we're ready. They don't get more time than today, and if they take more time, it gets in the way of the next one. And so, but I am going to acknowledge that it hurt, still does, probably always will, but we got to move on, and that's how life works.
Fresno State 7-3. It's going to be their senior day. They've got 2 conference losses, so they're still thinking that there's a path for them to the conference title game. You ought to be facing a fully motivated team in Fresno.
There's no question, and what better way to finish? So they're averaging probably 38ish, maybe close to 40,000. The stadium there's a great following there. They're having success. But that's a different style of play, completely different than what we just faced and in other games we played within the conference. But the parity, they are the same as the other teams. They're winning, but it's a very similar record to Hawaii, to New Mexico, to UNLV, to insert whatever Mountain West team you want. And that's what the top is going to look like. And we know we're capable. We just demonstrated that again. And here's the next test.
You have the scariest of scary when we see that situation with Saxton going down, and then everybody just turns so silent. And even it takes your breath away, literally, even if you're watching at home, as I was. I'm wondering if you have an update.
Yeah. All cognitive function has returned. So he's walking, he's moving, he's coherent. Concussion symptoms still remain. Obviously, they're doing extensive work and review of just his neck, etc. But I have to say that during that game, when my team walks out and basically singing, right, Tongan hymns and united while he's laying there, was one of the most impactful moments I think I've had in my life. As they were kind of just sharing their support through song, through culture, through love, and through being good teammates. Truly remarkable. And I looked over and saw the UNLV players, and they saw what an amazing thing that was. And you could just see them like feeling, man, this is an amazing moment that we're part of, and crazy because we still had to play some more game after that, but I just, I love this team. These kids they're amazing.
Well, Bronco, we appreciate a few minutes. Thanks for joining us, and good luck turning all the emotions around and going to Fresno.
Thanks so much. We'll see you.
There is Bronco Mendenhall. We'll take a break. When we come back, Kalani Sitake and Kyle Whittingham. A reminder, join Hans and Scotty live today from noon to 3 at the Grill, 2264 South Main Street in Nephi. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Time to go to Kalani Sitake's weekly press conference. The Cougars are 9-1 and headed to Cincinnati. Here's the head coach of the BYU Cougars.
Back on Monday again and excited for this week. We're looking forward to the game. Going back on the road, it was good to be home for this game over the weekend against TCU. And love that the team was able to bounce back from the loss that we experienced in Lubbock. But it was good to be home, play that game in front of our fans, and now that we got a home game done with, it kind of refreshes us and get us ready to get back on the road again and heading out to Eastern Time Zone and playing a really quality team. Looking at I've known Scott Satterfield for a while, and he's got a great reputation, does a great job with his team, and they played really, really well this year on film. They're dangerous, and they do some. I mean, they can put some points on you really quickly with Sorsby as a quarterback. He can run the ball and he can spread the ball out in the pass game, and then they can run the ball with their the running backs. And so it's a difficult team to prepare against, but defensively they can make things difficult for you too. And I mean, they got one of my favorite players I like watching in Dante Corleone. He does a great job up front. And I like his personality. I just like the overall like their team. I like the guys on their team, the leaders that they have, and people that we got to see at the media day and things like that. It's just you hear how they speak, and you hear about the culture and what Scott's doing there, and I just can't help but be impressed with what they're doing as a team. And this is going to be a big time game, and looking forward to the matchup. It's going to require us being at our best, and looking forward to it. We see it on film how dangerous they can be, and they're at home, and so there's a lot on riding on these games at the end of the year, especially when you're playing teams that are in the mix that are up there in the rankings when it comes to the standings of our conference. And so we know that, we understand that, and just like playing TCU, they're a great team that has won games and has got themselves ready for bowl games and things like that. So. We know that this is going to take our best. We want to create more flow and momentum from last weekend, and looking forward to getting that done starting today with our prep. And so, what questions do you guys have for me?
We'll start off with Jake Hatch.
Yeah, Kalani, you mentioned Saturday night you're not necessarily worried about style points. You guys have a big new kickoff showing up in Cincinnati. This is the third time I think you've had one of those national TV shows show up one of your games this year. How much do you think that, spotlight helped you guys when it comes to postseason opportunities and the like, if anything?
Well, when you said it, I know about style points. I know what style points are. I want to win. That's the key. You want to win. And people look at the metrics. I mean, we were favored to win by 3 points, and we won by a lot more than that. So I want to win, and I want to play at our best. And we can control the game, great. But if not, it comes down. Nothing's easy. You can't sit there going like we're going to go into this with trying to win with style. Like I want to win the game first, and so I understand all that stuff. And people running up the score is what style is, and okay, that I understand that whole concept. But I want to win the game first. That's the key, and that's going to be our focus. But you can't sit there and claim the game before you actually play it. You got to play the 60 minutes.
Next question from Jay Drew.
Kalani, you guys were just named the Big 12 Defensive Line of the Week. Your sack totals are way up from last year. What has just gone into developing that unit to be one of the strengths of the team, really?
Yeah, we thought they'd be good. We talked about developing them and getting them where they want to be. A lot of people question it. That's fine. We're playing really good football right now, and we're sitting in a really good spot. So D-line is improving. Everyone's improving. We're staying, we're working on our depth. You're starting to see a lot of the young guys start to step up and understand the scheme a lot more. And when you're doing that and everybody's clicking and doing the simple things right, it comes back to the fundamentals. guys can do the simple things right and understand their assignments, and they get to play more, and eventually, we'll get them in the right spot. So I'm pleased with the way the guys are working, their belief in themselves and in each other and the system. And when they do that, good things can happen. But, it works hand in hand. The coverage has to be there in order for the pass rush to get there too. So it's usually a good sign if we're getting more sacks and more hurries, probably more disruption. If we can do things like that, then we'll have an opportunity to get interceptions and create some havoc.
Next question from Jay Catch.
Faced a lot of good quarterbacks this season, Kalani. Where does Brendan Sorsby match up?
Yeah, he's right up there with all of them. I mean, you look at the stats and you can see he can make things really dangerous, and he's really difficult at home. I think we know how that advantage can be, and so when teams come here in the mountains, it's a hard game to it's hard for people to figure things out, and I think that's been an advantage for us. We have to go on the road and play at Cincinnati against them, so they can be a different team, and especially when they have a lot to play for, and also this is their senior night, so there's a lot riding on it, and we know he's going to step up. I mean, the great players do it, and so we have to be at our best. That's going to be the key, but he can do all of it. I mean, he throws the ball, he runs the ball, he does everything right, and we have to figure out a way to disrupt him. That's not easy, though.
You mentioned Dante Corleone earlier. What do you just make of their overall team makeup? Because it seems like they're really reliant on Sorsby. What do you make of the overall Bearcat, squad?
Yeah, really good roster. You could tell that they have a really good culture in place. I mentioned Scott Satterfield. You could tell that he's done this before and he knows what he's doing. And so the guys believe in their coaches. They play really assignment sound football, and so it's not going to be easy, man. There's well coached teams in this league, and then you match that with great talent and great culture. I mean that's going to be difficult. So nothing's easy. You saw over the weekend how hard it is for guys to get wins, and even with that, the people can get yards on you. They can advance the ball. You have to find ways to gain victories, and usually that comes in disrupting things. And the stat that matters the most is the score. But everybody wants to focus on how you win, but they skip the part of actually getting the win first and securing it.
Next question from Jay Drew.
Kalani, I just wanted to ask, how did you guys come out of the game health-wise? And I think we saw Max Alford, who's been kind of a pleasant surprise this year, limp off the field. But how did you do health-wise, and can you just, what has Max kind of added to the team this year?
Yeah, Max has been really good for us, and then creating some quality depth, especially when we lost Che. And so Max filled into the position. He's super smart, and we were able to use him when we had some guys get banged up, when Jack and Glasgow and Seattle were a little banged up, and nobody's 100% right now. So after the game, we know some guys are still getting evaluated. We'll have probably more information for you on Wednesday, but we got some guys that were kind of banged up a little bit, but we'll be fine. Everybody's in the same situation where everybody's sore, and then there's some people that are because it's at the end of the year are running on fumes. That's why you have to depend on your depth, and so we've been through this. We've prepped for it. We want all our guys to be ready to go, but if guys aren't able to perform, then the next guy will have to step up and make it work.
Next question from Mitch Harper.
Kalani, L.J. Martin said on Saturday that he played with a lot more confidence. Working his way back from the injury. When L.J.'s playing with the confidence that he showed on Saturday, what does that do for this offense as you guys head down the stretch run?
Well, it's good. I think the physical part of the game is what he does, and so I'm not sure if he was ready altogether on when we played Texas Tech. I think maybe we could have benefited from him resting a little bit, but the moment was too big. He wanted to try it, and how can you say no to him? So, and it does make a difference when you get to heal a little bit. I think sometimes people think that the bye week is a magical healing week. You know what I mean? And sometimes things take some a little bit more time to get better, and we've seen that. I mean, we've had guys that have been banged up, and they're playing a lot better now than they did a few weeks ago or a couple weeks ago. So I think he fits in that same category. But what's really nice about LJ is his leadership and his ability to communicate with his teammates as a captain and as a leader for us.
And then wanted to ask you too, with the college football playoff ring, because I know you've said that you don't get caught up in that, but does it get a little frustrating at all that you're a team that's only one loss and you're sitting behind, a handful of 2-loss teams?
No, when I say I don't really pay attention to it, I know it exists, guys. I'm not dumb. I know all the stuff that's out there. I know what people are saying in the metrics and analytics and the style points and all that stuff. My focus isn't on that. So I understand everything that's out there. I got to be focused on what we can control, which is playing football and the preparation today. That's what I got to focus on. So it's nice that we're in the mix and that people are recognizing what we do, but what does that matter if we don't go 1-0 this weekend? So my focus and what I'm trying to keep the team focused on is the stuff that we can control. I know one thing, we go out there and play at our best, and I like our chances, but until then, I'm not going to sit here and campaign and waste my energy on stuff that I can't control. I don't know all the other people's schedule. I can't speak as an expert on everything because I don't know what everybody's done and what everybody's played. All I know is in my view of what I'm controlling with this team and what we have on our schedule, especially this week, that if we take care of business and you to do things one step at a time, then things should work out in your favor, and that's what I'm banking on happening, and that's what I want these guys to be focused on. It's hard to talk about 3 weeks from now when you can't even control what you're doing right now with everybody else. Let's just go play the game, be at our best, and then see what happens next week.
Next question from Jake Hatch.
Well, you highlighted him on Saturday night, but I wanted to ask about your young defensive end guys, Nusi Talmwe Payal, Tosili Akana, Kenny Fonohema. What have they brought to this defensive line?
Yeah, they brought added depth, and athleticism, and skill, talent, a lot of that stuff, and then when you have a deep team like that at a lot of different positions, then you can use different people, and when you have upperclassmen that are not selfish and that are bought into what the team is trying to accomplish, they realize that other guys can help them, and that maybe them them tired is not better than the young guys or the backups being fresh. And so what you're seeing is a nice rotation, guys that are trusting each other, and then doing it for the greater good of the team rather than just trying to get your personal stats. And so I appreciate all the feel for the team, the brotherhood that they have, and their willingness to share and understand that they don't have to do it all by themselves. And you can do that when you have depth and quality depth. And those guys are still babies, man. These guys are going to get big and stronger. I mean, they're going to be a force. And right now, it's good to see that they have they have an opportunity to contribute. But I think eventually, when they grow up and get bigger, it's going to be pretty scary.
Got another young player, Bear Bachmeyer. Talk about maybe taking the brakes off of him. But are you thinking you want to do more just traditional offense versus some of the max protects you've used in the past? Is that what you're talking about, and unleashing him, I guess?
No, I think we've kind of gone through this transition of bringing him along, and now that we're at this position, we can really do whatever we want. Challenged A-Rod, and they understand that was a plan going forward. We knew what we were trying to get done, and by the end of the year, we could do whatever we want depending on what we see as an advantage against who we're playing against. So it's just hard. We can think differently now going into this game 11 than we could back in game 1, even though it was an FCS opponent. So you can kind of just go step by step, and then we're in a position now where we can do whatever we want with him. Mentally, he was already there. He started studying and knew a lot of the other plays. The question is, we can't practice everything. We can only execute what we practiced this week, and so let's figure out what we do, what he does best, and what he's the most comfortable with, and then what highlights our talent and our skill, and then let's go into this game pretty much with whatever we want to accomplish. But that's not just game day. That's what we want to accomplish and what we want to prep this week with.
I got one more real quick. Bronco Mendenhall, not that long ago, was on a radio show saying he's already talked to certain players on his roster about essentially the future, like where their spot is on the roster. Do you have those communications with your players in season about what the future looks like for them?
Yeah, I think the key is creating a vision for everybody, and it's hard to do when you have 120 guys, but eventually you're going to have to get towards the end of the year. And I think there's a moment where everybody understands their individual contribution to the team, and then also their goals and what they want to do individually. So right now we're asking everyone to put the team first, and then we'll discuss what possibilities there are for them individually. But right now we got to buy into what we can do as a team, and eventually we'll get there. But there's conversations happening all over the place, and they're all separate. So like it's not like one conversation covers the entire team. It's all got to be basically specialized for who that person is and how many years they have left and what they want to get out of this experience that they have in college football.
There's Kalani Sitake talking BYU football. Now let's turn to Kyle Whittingham and his press conference up on the Hill.
A little bit about the Baylor game. First of all, I thought we did some good things. A lot of explosive plays on offense. Bird Ficklin obviously came in the game and gave us some spark and some, really ran the football exceptionally well. He only carried it, I think it was 6 times, but about 165 yards. So he was a bright spot for us. Wayshawn Parker goes over 100 yards again and really has continuing to separate himself in the backfield from other guys and doing a good job. Not a lot in the throw game, didn't need to. We were committed to the run in this game and ended up piling up almost 400 yards of offense, rushing offense. So a lot of good things offensively. Offensive line played well again. That's been a theme the entire season. Defensively, certainly gave up more points and yards than you'd like, but scored a touchdown, set up another touchdown with a pick six and an interception. I think it ended up inside the 10-yard line. So good stuff there. Baylor, as I mentioned, going into the game, outstanding receiving corps, and feel no different after the game. That's the best receiving corps that we've played, and the quarterback is really good from the pocket. They threw for a ton of yards, 400 plus, but we were able to come away with a victory. Special teams, kind of a non-factor. Not a lot going on special teams-wise with either side. And so that was good to get the win. They're, like I said, they got some good players. They got size, athleticism, and speed and length and all that. So they were certainly a team that until we started to separate there in the second half, it was a pretty competitive game. Coming up this week, Kansas State back home, final home game of the year. Senior day, so we get to recognize our seniors, and it's a good kickoff time, 2 o'clock, so we like that. A little bit of a roll here. We got some momentum going into this game, and got to try to hang on to that. All starts with a great week of preparation. It starts today with that, and we're in pretty good health. We'll find out as the week goes on. With some guys that might be a little questionable, but for where we are in the big picture, health-wise, got no complaints this time of the year. So, questions?
This is from Dusty Tao. It says, great win Saturday with about 400 yards passing given up in the last game. What's your plan to tighten the screws for this week's game?
Yeah, well, like I said, going in, they're a talented receiving corps. We expected them to, they've been throwing for over 300 a week all season long, and so it wasn't a surprise that we were tested deep. In fact, gosh, it must have been 15 fade balls thrown in that game, 50-50 balls at least. I mean, it was one after another, and so we needed to make a few more plays than we did. There's no doubt about that. But we've been good in pass coverage all season long. We're still amongst the leaders in the conference in both pass yardage given up and pass defense efficiency, and so just got to keep working at it. We'll miss Scooby, obviously, the first half of this game, which is not ideal for us. He's been a very consistent player for us this year, so that'll give other guys opportunity, though. So that's it.
On Saturday night, you had talked about how Devin has just been banged up enough.
Yeah.
It's still questionable each week. Is there a situation where Bird starts this game or the last game, or kind of where do you kind of see that? Is it still just kind of up in the air?
Day by day is what we're taking it, and that's the best answer I can give you. If I knew any more than that, I would share most of that with you, or some of that. But it's just a situation where Devin, there's a lot of physicality in his game, with all the runs he does, and scrambling from the pocket in addition to the design QB runs. So he takes some physical. It takes a physical toll on him, but he's a tough kid. He loves it. He's not he loves running the football, and he's been effective at it. So we'll just see what happens. But certainly there is a scenario where you could see Bird. I'm sure of that, but we'll see.
You guys have blown out teams in each of your wins.
Mm-hmm.
Are style points kind of a consideration for you guys with the college football playoff?
No, I don't believe in humiliating anybody or trying to run up the score. When you're playing a throw team like Baylor, no score. You got to have a 4-score lead to be safe because they throw the ball so effective they can strike from anywhere, and so that's a little different than if you're playing a team that is a run-oriented team and you get up a few scores. But no, to answer your question, I don't subscribe to that. We don't subscribe to that. There's been games this year where we certainly could have piled on more points, but I just don't think it's not who we are. Yeah.
Morning, Coach.
Morning, PK.
Now, I know you've been saying focuses on Kansas State.
Absolutely, 100%, and nothing else matters.
You don't even know that it's your birthday this week because it's all...
Stop. I can't believe you said that. Okay.
But I'm going to ask you this question anyway. The way your team is playing right now, which obviously is at an extremely high level, do you think right now that it is playoff worthy?
You know what? We're going to take things one game at a time, PK, and see if we can see how we do against Kansas State. But I'll tell you right now that this team has a lot of confidence. We've got a lot of momentum going right now. The leadership is outstanding, and we think we're playing good football. Is it good enough? We'll find out. We got to take care of our business first, starting with this week. And when the dust settles and the regular season's over, we'll see where we're at and what kind of opportunities are there.
You'd mentioned that Devin in that situation, sort of day-to-day, obviously with him just being hampered with the injury. Is there any scenario this season where you shut him down just because you're worried about his long-term health, or is the injury, I guess, severe enough for it to render him just shut down for the season?
No, and we would. That's not my decision. Obviously, that would be a medical decision. And so you're asking, going forward, are we going to shut him down, or
is there any scenario where that happens? Is his injury severe enough in that case?
As it stands right now, no. No, as it stands right now. But you got to be able to function and be, he gets pretty sore and pretty beat up, as I mentioned, and so. But no, we don't feel that he's been put in harm's way any more than the next guy as far as long term and that type of thing.
Kyle, after the game, you mentioned that Devin, his mastery of the offense and just his experience in the offense is what led to the decision to keep him out there. But how do you balance that versus how he's performing, how he's executing in terms of how playing him, I guess? Yeah,
well, it's all in the equation. It's game by game and within the game itself. When we feel that the game is out of reach, then we've tried to get him out in those situations, and we've supplemented him, as you noticed, throughout the game with Bird. Sometimes they're in there. A lot of the time they're in there both at the same time, but Devin doesn't have a lot of a role when Bird is at the quarterback. He was more of a guy that just is window dressing out there. But we just rely on the medical staff to help with those decisions, and as long as they say he's good to go and he says he's good to go, then we just try to do things as intelligently as we can, and like I said, when the game seems to be in the bag, so to speak, then we try to get him out of there.
Kyle, at the beginning of the season, you said that this could be the greatest offensive line you've ever had. 10 games in, have they met expectations?
100%.
Ask them?
100%. They're surpassed.
Surpassed expectations?
I would say as advertised, exactly what we expected, and if anything, maybe even better than we expected. We're second in the nation in rushing the football, and that's a real good indicator of the physicality and the talent level of your front.
And then, did you happen to see the catch that went viral by a certain player that will go nameless?
Certain high school player?
A certain high school player at Rice Eccles Stadium?
Absolutely. That was very impressive for that. whoever that guy was. And it's as good a play as I've ever seen at any level. I don't think I can get in trouble for saying that because we still don't know who the guy is. But anyway, yeah, good point. Thank you for bringing that up.
Kyle, I kind of wanted to ask you a big picture question. I know you mentioned you're focused on Kansas State, but it seems like you have 2 starting caliber quarterbacks on your roster, and you obviously view them very highly. You know, there's been scenarios in the past where teams like Texas have had Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning on their roster long term. Given just the way the offseason goes, is there a scenario where you can see Bird and Devin staying on the roster next season together, just given the circumstances of how the portal is and all that?
We sure hope so. You know, and that's remains to be seen, and we'll, you know, that will be addressed. Obviously, they've tweaked the recruiting a little bit now in the dead periods, where December is now completely a dead period, and the portal does not open until January now, and so you have a little more time after the regular season to sort those things out than before. Before, you'd have to start those conversations now with a lot of your players as far as what their plans are and that type of thing. But with what Bird's done this year and what Devin's done for that matter, we're going to have to really step up to hang on to those guys, and that's really an administrative thing, it's not in my court. That's what kind of resources we can come up with to keep the roster together, and you know, it'd be interesting to do the study. My guess is if you took a study of Power 4 football rosters, you know, the $25 million rosters, the 20, and with the average win-loss record, it would just follow suit exactly with the resources available. So yeah, everyone's trying to step up in that regard.
Who's the better thrower between the two?
You know, Devin, they have different styles. Devin gets the ball out extremely quick. He's got a quick release. He's able to go through the progressions a little quicker than Bird because he's so familiar with them. Bird maybe has a little more zip on the ball, a tad more accuracy at times, but they're different types of throwers from the pocket, and they're both outstanding, but just different. So I don't know if you can say one's better than the other. They both do it their way.
Good time for one more, Sammy.
Jason Stokes Jr. only played 13 snaps on Saturday, but he had that good pass breakup. What have you seen from his development that you know has given you guys confidence to put a true freshman out there versus some of these pass-heavy teams? Yeah,
well, he's progressed ever since he got here. You know, we obviously liked him out of high school, or we wouldn't have recruited him. We thought he had some real upside, and you're right, he made a really nice play in the game on Saturday, and it was an opportunity to put him in the game when we got to what was it, 49-20, I think, is where we felt the game was pretty much out of reach, and gave him some opportunity, and a lot of that was Scooby, you know, going out early, you know, that gave us an opportunity to put other guys in, and then Jason was next in line, and so that it was kind of a chain reaction. But I can tell you right now, we have a lot of confidence in Jason, and he's a guy that, as I mentioned, has really gotten better week by week and works hard and has great attitude. And Sharif, Coach Shaw, just thought it was time for him to maybe get some game action and show what he can do.
All right, there's Kyle Whittingham at his weekly press conference. A reminder to join Hans and Scotty tomorrow from noon to 3 at Tim Dolly Nissan Southtown, 11155 South Jordan Gateway in South Jordan. Tim Dolly, home of the Forever Warranty. DJ and PK, what is trending? The headlines are next.
It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know. News update. News update. This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag Utah Jazz.
Obviously, my lungs feel like a newborn baby. That's the most important thing. I got to get my lungs back up to a grown man, and my voice is already gone. 1 day back, barking out calls and assignments and stuff, and getting my voice working again. So, be a lot of team rest tonight. I feel good though. Yeah, it feels good to be out here with the guys.
There's LeBron James. He's been out. He's coming back to action, and it's for the Jazz game tonight, PK. Giving this game a little more zip. Maybe. We've been led to believe he's coming back. I suppose he could, before the game, say, no, not tonight, and nobody would make him go.
You're familiar with that phrase, no, not tonight.
Oh, no idea. No idea. Jazz are 5-8, and for people who want them to win more or don't want them to win more, keep an eye on the road games. They have been much better at home than on the road. We'll see if they can start figuring things out on the road.
What did Frank say?
I'm not telling you. Don't you mind your own business? Once you know what Frank says, I'll tell you. Yesterday I wanted you to know, so I told you. Jazz so far 1-5 on the road, 4-3 at home. Tip off tonight, 8:30. Coverage starts at the Zone on 7:30. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NBA.
8-6. Davion loses the rock, but he loses it to where? He'll power up off Cat, get it in, and in one.
Sixers ball. Maxey against Harden. Gets by him. Throws it up. It's gone. He spun it up on Zubats and in. The Sixers have taken the lead. 95-94. The Raleigh Towels are out force. Maxey with 36.
The send out accepted by Vooch. In front to Herter. Rolling to his right. See you, Vooch. Topside open three. Bam! Big time shot, Vooch. And the Bulls lead by 4. A 2-possession lead for Chicago.
And Chicago goes on to win the game. The Bulls beat the Denver Nuggets, who are off to a great start, but they give Denver their third loss of the year. Josh Giddey, 21 points, 14 rebounds for Chicago. Feel like he's having a breakout year or too small a sample size? No definitive statements to be made yet.
I thought he did last year.
Tyrese Maxey, 39 points. The Sixers hold off the Clippers, 110-108, the final. Also, the Thunder just keep doing what they do. They take apart the Pelicans, a really good team beating a really bad team, 126-109. The Pelicans are 2-12. Only Washington and Indiana have fewer wins, sitting on 1. And Oklahoma City, a sparkling 14-1, leading the NBA. The defending champs are flying out of the gate. NBA guys have a lot of injuries. A lot of stars sit. Here is today's list. The Spurs announced that Victor Wembanyama will miss at least 3 weeks with a calf strain. Could be out as many as 6 weeks. Bucks star Giannis Antetokounmpo left the game in the second quarter with a groin injury. He'll get an MRI today. Grizzlies guard Ja Morant will be out at least 2 weeks with a calf strain of his own. So there's some big names that people plunk down their money to see who are going to be sidelined for a while.
Rats.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag college basketball.
13th ranked Gonzaga blasting Southern Utah 122-50 in Spokane. 10 Bulldogs in double figures in the rout. Utah hosts Purdue Fort Wayne at the Huntsman Center tonight, 7 o'clock on ESPN+. BYU dropped to 9 in new AP Top 25 poll after their 2-point loss to UConn on Saturday.
Utes are hosting Purdue. Fort Wayne.
Exactly. Purdue. Fort Wayne.
Not as good as IUPUI. Remember that?
Yeah, I do. What was the famous player? Was it Danny Green? They had one guy was in the NBA for a long time from there.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. He played for the Jazz, didn't he?
Did he?
From Ooey Pooey?
Ooey Pooey.
Yeah. It wasn't Danny
George
Green.
Hill?
Was it George Hill? Yeah.
I think it was George Hill.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
George Hill, like country
Good
music.
call.
Big fan of Thomas Rhett. We used to exchange lyrics when I talked to him.
DJ PK.
Hashtag NFL.
2nd and 10. Prescott fakes a toss right. He's got Lamb wide open on the right side of the end zone. And the second and Raiders. Touchdown, CeeDee Lamb. Prescott is under center. Stamps his left foot. Receiver in motion to the left. Prescott play action. Left side of the end zone. Right on the money to Ryan Flanoy. Touchdown, Cowboys.
And the Dallas Cowboys dominate the Raiders. 4 touchdown passes for Dak Prescott. 33-16, the final score. Cowboys is trying to get back to 500. And they're 4-5-1 now after picking up that win.
So close.
So the NFL injuries. Falcons starting quarterback Michael Penix will miss the rest of the season. A knee injury damaged his ACL. How bad is it? They're still trying to figure that out, but he's out for the year, and he's had a couple ACL injuries. I read this is the 5th time in 8 years he's had a season-ending injury in college or pro football. Yeah. And he's had a couple ACLs, so we'll see how bad this one is. Wide receiver Drake London set to miss this week with a PCL issue on his left knee. And the Jets have benched Justin Fields in favor of the veteran backup Tyrod Taylor. Wide receiver Jamar Chase has been suspended for a game without pay for spitting on the Steelers' Jalen Ramsey Sunday. Chase is appealing. If the suspension is upheld, he'll lose $448,333 in the game check, and another $58,823 in his per game active bonus. That's a little over $500,000 there. Hope it was worth it.
That's nice of you.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
What would you say the main reasons are this team is underachieved?
According to who?
Well, even your preseason number one, I think most people would agree 3 losses is not achieving what you are capable of.
I mean, I guess that's into who voted us number one, okay? What I think is that this team has competed their tail off, and we have an opportunity at the end of the regular season to do something that nobody's done since 2019, and that's beat 3 top 10 ranked teams in the regular season. The last team to do that was LSU with Joe Burrow. So have we been faced with a pretty difficult schedule? Have we been faced with high expectations? Sure, but that's why we came here, so we'll be okay.
There's Steve Sarkisian on the preseason number 1 ranking and delivering on the high expectations.
Little Stevie. So that's just somebody who ranked us.
Mm-hmm.
But we got a chance to beat 3 ranked top 10 teams. Isn't that just somebody who ranked them?
Yeah, reframe the question, though, PK. Come on now.
I don't want to talk about it.
Well, somebody over here, somebody just ranked you.
Yep.
But over there, somebody just ranked them.
Yep.
But if you beat them, that's a big, big deal.
Yep.
I don't understand it.
Well, it's different.
The rankings is somebody ranked them.
Yep. And in the preseason, they weren't really that good. You can argue there's more to go on in the rankings now. Ohio State, who they didn't beat, but they did play, is sitting there at number 1. They did beat, they lost to Georgia also. Yeah. It's the Florida loss that haunts them. They have played a hard schedule, but the Florida loss haunts them. And Florida, not ranked.
I watched the game last week. If that doesn't haunt you, what's the point?
Yeah.
You're not very competitive.
Georgia blew it open in the 4th quarter. Virginia Tech made the first big hire in this cycle. Former Penn State coach James Franklin, fired by the Nittany Lions. $49 million buyout has been renegotiated. The Nittany Lions now own $9 million. Which sounds super reasonable after you hear the $49 million. The sticker shock is still an enormous number, but obviously it's only about 20%.
His deal with Penn State had the offset, obviously.
It had the offset, and he knew he was going to get big money, so yeah, there you go. Michigan star running back Justice Haynes will miss the rest of the regular season with a foot injury that required surgery. He was leading the Big Ten before he sidelined the past 2 games with the injury. And a private capital plan that would have infused $2.4 billion into the Big Ten athletic departments has been paused as Michigan and USC push back. UC Investments, tied to the University of California Pension Fund, announced Monday it's going to wait for unity among the schools. So hold on to the old $2.4 billion there. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NHL.
Upstairs it goes. Sergachev, one-timer from Cooley, and he scores! Out of the slump and into the lead. Logan Cooley breaks a goalless drought and puts the Mammoth in front. It's 2-1. Keller knocked down. Ducks get to it. 8 seconds left. Here's Gauthier. He shoots. Tapped on goal, and they score. The Ducks tie it with 4 seconds left in the third, and the Ducks take it. Here they come up the ice. It's Killorn. Killorn lays it back. Seneca backdoor. They score. Anaheim comes all the way back to win it in overtime.
Utah Mammoth have been good in overtimes. Now they've dropped 2 in a row here. They lose to the Ducks 3-2. Logan Cooley with the go-ahead goal put them up 2-1 midway through the third period. But you heard they scored there with seconds left. And then they lose in OT.
I feel bad for Leanne Yamamoto.
Because?
Because it was Mom's night. They brought the moms there. I watched it on the only TV station I watch now, Channel 5. And they had a little thing.
Your loyalties bought and purchased.
Yeah, me and everybody else.
I know, right?
And they had a little thing on Channel 5. And it showed the moms, and they interviewed them a little bit. And I got to learn that Yamamoto's mother's name is Leanne.
Back-to-back, coming off the overtime loss. They're in San Jose to play the Sharks. Puck drop at 8 o'clock. Coverage starts at 7 here on The Zone. DJ and PK.
That's what's trending. It's
Brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. No job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. When we come back, Tim Fitzgerald, publisher of GoPowercat, part of the 24/7 Sports Network, will join us. He covers Kansas State. Coming up about 7:30, we'll find out what he thinks of Utah and K-State. And the former Ute quarterback Frank Dolce joins us 8 o'clock. It's a Utah Jazz Ticket Tuesday. Coming up at 8:30 and at 9:30, we'll be giving away a pair of tickets to watch the Jazz in Oklahoma City Friday night at the Delta Center. That's all coming up. Stay with us right here on The Zone.
Whirls around and down. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone is your exclusive home of the Utah Jazz. And we want to send you to the Delta Center to see the Jazz in action. Listen every Tuesday for the Jazz Ticket Tuesday Sounder at 30 past the hour, every hour, all day long. And if you're caller number 12, you'll be on your way to an upcoming game.
Buy one, you'll get one free.
It's Jazz Ticket Tuesday, every Tuesday throughout the NBA season on your radio home for the Utah Jazz. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hot takes and toast. Question of the morning. The Big Ten reportedly presented a plan to conference commissioners for a 2014 playoff with Power 4 conferences each getting 4 automatic bids. Another day, another plan. How about this one? Greg, I love that the two big conferences wouldn't get more auto bids than the other two Power 4 conferences. They already have a huge advantage for the eye test bias. More teams in the playoff minimizes the effect of that bias. Also, Cinderella stories are made the NCAA 64-team basketball tournament so successful. Let's hope for some Cinderella football stories and less controversy for the selection bias. I might be in favor of a second auto bid for G5s.
Cinderella in football, when does that happen?
That is much more difficult. Bigger guys beating on smaller guys makes it much more difficult.
It just doesn't happen very often, so I don't know about that. That seems too many.
It would get rid of conference championship weekend. So there'd be a little bit of an offset there as far as how many games these players might end up playing.
Well, whatever on that. It just waters it down even more. Who cares about winning the conference title? So you get into deep in November and you've got an injury and you're in 4th place, but you know you're not going to move up or down, and nor do you care if you move up, but you can't move down, so you sit guys to get them ready for what matters. It's the NBA.
Back to game management.
Yeah.
That would inevitably happen.
Right. It's the NBA all over again.
Right.
The worst regular season we have in professional sports.
You could see where if that plan were in play right now, Kyle was talking about Devin Dampier. He's banged up, but it's not major, and he can play, and he's a tough kid. Yeah, but if you're sitting there like the Utes are now at number 13 or whatever they show up at tonight when they reveal the new number, you can see where he totally think, we run the ball pretty well. Bird Ficklin can run over Kansas State. Let's sit Dampier and get him ready for the playoff.
Right.
You can totally see that logic.
Yeah. So we're taking what was viewed as one of the better, if not the best, and you have to consider college football a major sport, whether you want to hold on to the romantic student-athlete phrase, which is so long outdated now, that it would water it down, and you'd end up with the NBA. Nobody wants the NBA. I mean, come on. They talk about in the NBA, it doesn't even start till Christmas. I mean, what other season is 2 months before you hear that?
Yeah. They're charging regular season prices even if the season hasn't started.
Yeah.
Mike, I like conference championship games, and the 2014 playoff would probably kill that. Also, no one cares what I think. I'm unsure if even I care what I think. Mike likes his conference championship weekend.
I don't have a problem with eliminating that because I still think it's a little silly to play 9 games and then somehow one game matters more than 9 games. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Old school.
Yeah. I mean, you play all these games. There's something should be said for winning the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
And now the only way that does is if you do both. And I suppose it's really cool if you have a tie like we had last year in the Big 12.
Yeah, and they haven't played. But even that wasn't completely satisfying because it's like, why these two over those two? The tiebreaker felt kind of mushy. I think the best case scenario is what the Big Ten is looking at, assuming Ohio State wins out and beats Michigan in the rivalry game. Indiana ought to beat Purdue. So if you get 2 teams that are undefeated and they haven't played, then the conference championship game, that's great. If you get somebody who's clearly ahead and
I don't even know if it's great, though.
Really?
Ohio State, who cares? What do they care?
Well, if you want to win the conference championship.
That's the point. Who cares?
You think they don't, even now?
Yeah, I think you want to win every game you play.
Since they just won the national championship without going to the conference title.
I think it's Ohio State, and they always want to win the national championship. And you ask any Ohio State fan or player or coach or whomever, Jack Nicklaus, go ask him, what would you rather do?
Famous Buckeyes.
Win the regular season, win the one game in December, or win it all in January? Obviously, they're going to choose January, so I don't think it is a big deal.
Devin's down on it. He just sends in Charlie Brown standing on the sidewalk. Good grief. Devin doesn't like it at all.
Yeah, and then you're going to have more voting in terms of who gets in. And so then, because it's not just the 4.
4 getting in, that's great, but where's the seeding? If you're 4 sent on the road and they don't get home games, somebody else will be complaining that they didn't get buys.
And then you could potentially be bringing in a 7-win team.
Bit of a stretch, but I see your point. 7-win SEC team.
You got to put somebody in there.
Yeah, 7-win SEC team.
The G5s ain't going to get any at-large bid.
No, they'll get whatever they're guaranteed.
And I don't think that you always talk about the bias against the Big 12 and ACC. Mm-hmm. They're not getting a 5th-place team in.
No, that's why SEC, 7-win team. Here we come.
Right. So do we really need that? Again, it goes back to the NBA. This play-in, which is just, wow. I mean, I can't even sleep when we get into March and April wondering who's going to make the play-in. I mean, it is so riveting. And you're going to have teams that are under 500, in a sense, in the NBA. We've seen that before in the playoffs, even before they did this unbelievable stroke of genius move to have the play-in and let more below-average teams in. And that's what you're going to do here? 24 seems too big to me.
It looks like right now there are 19 8-win teams.
You looking at the standings?
No. Looking at the rankings. It's quicker that way.
Yeah, but they'll all get in.
Right. I was wondering if there'd be 7-win teams this year. And I don't think so. I think but still, your point, okay, they're not 7-5, they're 8-4. Do you want 8-4 teams in the playoff? I mean, just move the number.
Yeah.
DJ PK, and it's time now to talk Utah and Kansas State. Covering the Kansas State Wildcats, Tim Fitzgerald joins us right now, the publisher of GoPowercat, part of 24/7 Sports. Tim, good morning.
How are you boys doing?
We're doing well this morning. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm looking forward to a trip to Salt Lake City. I understand you've arranged decent weather for mid-November.
Yeah, low 50s, sun out, take it. It'll be a beautiful day.
Nice.
Have you been out here before?
Yeah, we came out last year for BYU, and I've actually been there for the NCAA tournament many years ago when K-State went to the Elite Eight.
Oh, the stadium on a day game at Rice-Eccles from the press box, both sides, looking out the east and the west when the sun's shining is really spectacular.
I can't wait to see it. I tell you what, long before Utah, the whole Pac-12 disintegration thing happened, had a buddy send their daughter to Utah, and he went to games and said, "This is the most Big 12 stadium, not in the Big 12 I've ever been to." So I'm really looking forward to it.
Interesting. The K-State season, how would you describe this so far? How are K-State fans describing this?
Like a drunken adventure. You're probably going to wake up with scrapes and don't know what happened. It's been a disaster, and for matched against expectations, I think Utah fans can understand this. But what happened to Utah last year was kind of explainable with quarterback. It's been more difficult to explain for Kansas State. It's been a number of small injuries that have added up, but at the start of the season, there's no other way to describe this team than pathetic. They just were going through the motions, played with no energy. They rectified that with an off week and started playing better football, and then lo and behold, what did we see? Last Saturday at Stillwater, after their third bye week of the season, was another lackadaisical effort by the Wildcats, and they almost got beat by a horrific team, which they've already done this year with Army, and they got out of Stillwater with a win. They better come with a lot more energy, or this is going to get real ugly real fast next Saturday.
Yeah, so after the game and then during this past week here already, Coach Chris Kleiman said something I thought was interesting, that they played "we can't lose" rather than, quote, "let's go out and try to win." So he thought there was pressure on them, and I assume that, to sum it up, it can be that they were tight for whatever reason that they shouldn't have been in terms of the pressure that they put on themselves, all right? Because pressure in that regard can only be something that you decide what is there or not. And nevertheless, they put it out there, and then they barely won, didn't look good in doing it. Well, the flip side here, you're a double-digit underdog. I mean, it's way up there. I think it's the highest in 3 or 4 years for this program. So shouldn't they, at that point, if that's going to be the attitude that when you're playing a crappy Oklahoma State team, the pressure to win, well, now you're playing a really good Utah team that's as hot as anybody, and you're not supposed to win, so they can come out and be loose and maybe do something?
That's a good theory. I'll say this. I think the world of Chris Kleiman. I think he's a great football coach, but he's fallen into a bad habit this season of kind of giving his team a crutch to lean on. This is why they played bad. This is instead of just, holding them accountable fully for their own actions. The simple truth of this game is Kansas State's offensive line has been bad at times this year, including last Saturday, and that's not good against Utah. And the defensive line has given up rushing yardage. They've gone to a four-man front that is not fully adequately stocked on defensive tackles to do it. And going against Utah is another bad thing if you can't stop the run. So this is just it's turned into a really bad matchup with how these two teams are playing football at this point in time.
Kansas State opened the season by going to Ireland, playing Iowa State week 0. A lot of us watched that game because there's so little football that weekend, and it was a Big 12 game. In retrospect, is that a good idea? What kind of impact does that have on the fan base and on the players for the season? Would you recommend doing something like that again?
I would recommend going to Ireland to anyone who wants to do it. I wouldn't take my football team. Look at Iowa State. They're struggling. I don't know what it is. It shouldn't be that big a deal, but maybe it's just that one more thing for a team in terms of the toll of a season. But, for K-State, they weren't good from the start, but that loss knocked them off course. Both coaches, Matt Campbell and Chris Kleiman, decided not to take an off week. They had been told, don't let your team just rest on it. You got to get them back on the field. Well, it was a disaster for K-State because they barely beat a mediocre North Dakota team. They lost to Army, and then they went to Arizona on a Friday night and lost that too. So you go to Ireland, you play Army, which is a difficult preparation, even when they're bad. The offense is tough to handle. And then you turn around and play Arizona on a short week. It was just a horrible convergence of things in the schedule. And once they took that off week, they started playing better football. They just really looked a lot better from that point on, and they're 4-3 in the conference despite all their problems.
Jace Brown, their leading receiver, got injured last week. I believe he's done for the season. How big of a loss is that?
Big. He was their only real home run hitter. And he did it almost every game lately. He'd find a way to get free, and he and Avery were always on the same page because they're roommates. The optimism for the offense coming into the season, was the fact that Avery Johnson had Jace Brown at receiver and Dylan Edwards at running back. Well, two of those three are now gone. Dylan Edwards was a distraction and disaster all season long, and he's now quit the team and entering the transfer portal. And Jace Brown's been incredible all season long, and now he's gone for the year too. So K-State's going to really have to find a way to generate some offense somehow, some way. And it's just not been a good offense even with those guys.
The combination of K-State having problems with their run defense and Utah running the ball, and now these issues you're talking about on offense, what is the path for K-State to, A, compete in this game, and B, win? What does that look like? Because you're painting the picture for a rout here.
Yeah, I am, and I'm afraid that's what's going to happen. Just because not only is Utah a great team, it's a great team that matches up poorly for K-State. But the path for K-State has been the same all year. It's just find a way to grind out enough offense, make some big plays, which becomes more difficult without Jace Brown, and create turnovers. They've been really good at turning the other team over. In fact, guys, they'd lose at Oklahoma State if it's not 5-1 in the turnover ratio, and that's all that bailed K-State out. A few big plays on defense, but they've got to get the opposing team to make some mistakes, and they've been pretty good about pressuring them into those mistakes. But those are typically throwing teams and not running teams, because that becomes a whole new layer of a challenge for Kansas State.
Quarterback Avery Johnson, a lot of experience, but the question I pose, has he regressed, progressed, or stayed the same?
It's hard to say that. He's progressed in some ways, and certainly as a runner, he's regressed. It's almost like they gave him too much to think about instead of just going to go play and tuck the ball and run when I need to. He'd play on instincts. He's been told that you can't get injured, you can't do this, you got to be careful with that, and he kind of runs that way. I mean, this is a guy that runs a 4.3. He can turn on the jets, but every time he tucks the ball, he almost looks hesitant. And you can't play football that way. You can't play any sport that way. You got to just let your instincts take over. I think when Avery just plays football, he's pretty darn good. When he gets to thinking too much and got too many voices in his head, coaches and fans and parents and all that, it really bogs him down.
There's been a discussion here about BYU and Utah, and should they play on rivalry weekend at the end of the season, which they did in the WAC and Mountain West days. They didn't do it when Utah was in the Pac-12 and independent. Now the Big 12, it looks like they need big TV games earlier in the season. It's been moved to get away from the crush of all the rivalry games. Do people in Kansas care about Kansas and Kansas State playing early? They have any feeling on that issue or any insight into it?
No. I mean, they've played late. They've played early. K-State's won 17 years in a row, so they could probably play on the moon right now and K-State would win. My thought with the Big 12 is, and they're exactly right, you need to make the most of your rivalry games, is I think the Big 12 should go to a rivalry of the week and literally have it as as noted as a game. Because you got Iowa playing Iowa State, you can come up with non-conference games that fit that bill too, and kind of hype it up for TV purposes, because there are some great rivalries in this conference. And they're not always set by state borders, unlike what the ADs did in voting not to protect other rivalries that BYU and Utah and KU, K-State are two of the few protected rivalries in this conference, and I think they need to play up all those other ones too. I think they made a grave mistake with how they set up the schedules and how they're promoting some of these games.
Last time Kansas State was a double-digit underdog was 2022, and it was on the road, and Kansas State upset number 6 Oklahoma. If it happened once, why can't it happen again?
And K-State always did that kind of stuff to Oklahoma. It was got to be pretty entertaining. There was just something about that matchup, and I think it was as much anything as Kansas State was in Oklahoma's head at some point. It was a crazy matchup, and K-State will forever be able to say they won their last game with Oklahoma in a similar fashion. They went down there and people didn't expect them to win, and they did. So I think it doesn't happen because Kyle Whittingham is a nuts and bolts football coach, a Bill Snyder type, and they're in the same classification as elite, where they don't miss the little things. And when you play really foundational football, it makes it harder to get upset. I don't expect Utah to turn the ball over. That's not their character, and that's what opens the door to an upset quite often.
Well, I think we've got your pregame prediction pretty much nailed down here, Tim. I think we figured out what you're looking for, what you're thinking.
Yeah, if I was a betting man, I'd be betting on Utah. This reminds me of the Texas Tech game. When Tech rolled in, I was trying to tell fans, this not only is a really good Tech team, this is a bad matchup. This offensive line is not going to be able to handle the D-line. Now, K-State actually played really well for 3.5 quarters. I think Utah can understand how that works against Tech. All heck broke loose here late in the game, and Utah's equally a bad matchup, not only because of what they do, but being on the road. K-State has lost. I just saw a stat. It was really interesting. K-State has lost almost every game to a team with a winning record in the Big 12 over the last 3 years. They've been beating all the teams they should beat, losing to the teams that they can beat. And so I think it'll be really shocking to me if K-State wins, and it'll be maybe equally shocking if K-State plays within the score.
Tim, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us, and continue on with your glorious day.
Okay, thank you, boys.
All right, Tim Fitzgerald, publisher of GoPowercat, part of 24/7 Sports. Limited on offense. Don't match up to the run game.
Yeah, that's my kind of world. No hope.
No hope. You really got into that, huh? I always thought of yourself as a Jersey guy, but K-State really
all
resonates.
hope who enter here.
Well, I mean, the line is probably up to 18 now. Who knows? But, yeah, I expect them to roll. This is going to be another blowout.
Yep.
It'll be really funny in an odd sense if they do it again next week in Lawrence. And so they have 2 losses, and every one of their wins is a blowout. How does that happen?
It's an odd kind of season. It's not something we usually see, but it feels right now like that's exactly what we're going to see. That they're going to put 2 more exclamation points on this season, and they'll be 10-2. And as Cal said at his press conference, we'll see how everything else shakes out and where they stand.
When the dust settles.
The margin of victory has been close to 4 scores here. I think it's floating around 25, 26 points a game, and maybe we got 2 more of those right on the horizon.
Yeah.
All right, DJ and PK coming up. Frank Dolce, former Ute quarterback, will join us at 8 o'clock. Stay with us. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We got Jazz tickets to give away at 8:30 and 9:30 on a Utah Jazz Ticket Tuesday.
It's game week for the Aggies, and the KSL Sports Zone is getting you ready for kickoff. After a double overtime loss, Bronco, Mendenhall, and the Aggies look to become bowl eligible as they hit the road for a battle against Fresno State. Listen all week long for the best coverage of Aggie football. Then catch all the play-by-play action, beginning with the Aggie pregame show this Saturday at 7:30 on 1280 The Zone. Your exclusive home for Aggie football is live on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. The band of the day is Metallica lead guitarist Kirk Hammett celebrates his birthday today. It's brought to you by Live Nation. For all the live concerts and events in 2025, check out livenation.com. Question up on our Facebook page. How good has Lauri Markkanen become? Tommy says, good enough to be traded because that's what the Jazz do.
How do you do? I don't think so in this case.
Don't think they're giving him.
He loves it here.
Don't think they're giving him a lot of shots and building up those numbers.
He's taking a lot of shots.
Build up.
They don't give shots.
Yeah, I think in his case, actually, they do.
I don't think so.
I think they do.
I think he's has free reign to jack it up as much as he wants.
He does, but stuff is designed for him. I mean, they want him to shoot.
Well,
it.
why wouldn't you be? Why wouldn't you do that? He's the best shooter on the team.
And he's not a guy who takes the ball, waves everyone out of his way, and then goes one-on-one to get the shot. So that's why I say it's given.
Like 5 guys in the league who do that.
Yeah. It's he doesn't have the ball, and they are looking to find him.
Sure. That's obvious. That's sunrises in the east. No kidding.
Well, that's why I say they give it to him.
Well,
as opposed to him taking
it. And they gave it to Letter Carrier, and they gave it to Kobe, and they gave it to MJ, and they gave it to whoever's your best player on the team. That's not news.
I don't think he's taking them. It's like he's selfish. He's jacking it up.
They didn't say he was. Not at all. He's firing it up. He's the best player on the team.
Yeah. And they're designing a lot of stuff to get him easy stuff inside. Layups, dunks.
They should do that every time if you can do that.
They do. Well, as long as teams keep switching, because inevitably if you switch, you're going to put a smaller guy on him, and so then, boom, right to the hoop.
But you're acting like there's some kind of ulterior motive here, but you're not saying what it is.
To trade him for younger, better players later in the season.
You think that's the case?
I'm not ruling it out. I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, I think they've been offered bad packages before, and they've clearly resisted
I didn't say,
right.
did you know? I said, do you think that's what they're doing? I realize you don't know what they're doing. Nobody knows. I'm not even sure they know.
Right. I agree with that. Yes. I don't think they know.
Right.
I think they're open to it, and if the right deal comes along, they'll do it, and if it doesn't, they'll keep doing what they're doing. I mean, he's got a pretty long runway here. It's not like he's 30 years old yet, because he's not. So he's got several years in his prime. But if I had to guess, does
he should have more than that because he rarely plays.
You know, the whole minutes thing Locke has always told us, absolutely.
He's had his feet up the last couple years. He's preparing for the summer, not for the regular season.
Get out of the way.
Yeah. With that in mind, Austin told us they're going to play to win. So, of course, he would take the motion. I would be outraged. It would be malpractice by the authorities in the Jazz management that didn't have it, that allowed it to allowed somebody else to take more shots than him. That would be a crime against humanity. That would be what Will Hardy said yesterday or Sunday about the ball boy incident.
Nice. I put that together. I follow you there.
He must take the most shots. He's their best player.
Bleep and bleep. That's what that is.
Yeah, it would be. Now, I mean, you're not talking about every single game, but the large majority of it.
Very large majority of them, yeah.
He's a really good player.
Mark just turns and walks away.
Uh-oh.
So the violation is what? Delay of game? I could read those lips.
You need to read them. You can hear them.
He did not agree with the call. Let me say that. So
good job by Bowler laying out and just letting the Nat Mikes carry it right there. Let it go. Let's try to figure out what the heck it just.
Those lips.
Try to figure out what happened. They were in a replay, and all of a sudden there's a T.
Because we've never seen anything like that.
We haven't.
So, and they sit them way up high.
They're at the
so
top.
They're not down below.
I know. And they're trying to figure out.
They have somebody else sit down below to do what? I don't understand. But that's just me. What do I know? And the people who talk the most are sitting up top. Hey, what do I know? So there's always a little delay in
figuring out what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, that's
something's happening. What's happening?
How are they supposed to know sitting that far away?
So is all this scoring by Markkanen going to add up to a lot more wins? Because the good is defined by the scoring average for sure, but at some point the scoring average has to translate into wins.
Yes, it is. I mean, they didn't get 5 wins until another month last year, so it already is. Now, a lot more, the standard is very low because you only had 15. So if you get 25, that's a lot more. But it's not near enough.
25 seems doable.
Right. So, yes.
30 seems like you're giving away a draft pick at
as
that
long
point.
as he plays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which we can't guarantee that.
I mean, he played 47, as you just said.
Last year.
What type of rhythm were you in? Now he's playing every game. I don't think he's missed any yet. Only been 13, obviously. And he's in a rhythm. And he's coming off the summer in which he had the same role.
I do wonder how much...
a late summer at that.
Yeah. I do wonder how much his ability to get these layups and dunks is impacted because with Kessler not on the floor and not having the numbers on these, maybe are they seeing more small lineups? And does that give him a chance to get more layups and dunks? You know, if Kessler's out there and if he's in the dunk spot and now there's more help available, maybe they wouldn't be running the offense exactly the same way. So I think that's one thing that's out there. And I think the thing that he played so well in the summer and that he played so much in the summer, maybe he's a little ahead of the curve of guys who are working their way into the season. So is this sustainable? Does he run out of gas later in the year or not? I don't know how that'll play out. I think those are a couple factors to watch.
On this team, if he plays, he produces.
Yeah, that's what we've seen since he came here.
And I
You're
think
right.
that'll be the same for as long as he's there.
I think that last year is probably the year where he produced the least, even in the 47 games he played. And to your point about momentum, and I also think that it was a lost season. He could see the handwriting on the wall. And it is a little hard to get yourself.
Every season since he's been here has been lost.
Yeah, but last year especially so.
I agree
the tank was more
apparent.
And, you know,
sure. No question.
If he wouldn't be human if he didn't walk around occasionally thinking, what are we doing here? You know? And here it's like, okay, we're not very good, but we're at least trying to win.
I don't want to hear that. The checks don't bounce.
I get it. Yeah,
He's making millions.
Yeah.
What's he making in Finland on that stuff?
Not this.
He's out balling.
Right.
Your job,
if they'll let you play,
is to ball.
Yeah.
I mean, he should be jacking up threes. He's shooting 39%, something like that. I looked it up the other day. This guy's an incredible shooter.
Yep.
All his numbers are awesome.
Travis says, start of a new season, and he's very frustrated about last season, but I'm sorry. Lauri to me isn't someone who will lead you to the promised land. He could be a perfect, tremendous centerpiece, but I've never seen superstar written on him.
I don't know that we're talking about that, though.
Well, how good has Lauri become? So Travis says not superstar, not all NBA.
But there's so few superstars.
15 all NBA guys. Can he play his way into the top 15 in the league?
No, because they won't win enough.
Yeah.
But is his skill level? I can argue, and I'd have to see who's there when we get there in May. But he's just a very good player. There's really no other way to say it. And he's never played in a playoff game. And, okay, so I remember Locke came on several years back, and he used the example of Tony Campbell in Minnesota, who was putting up numbers on a crappy team.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he seems better than Tony
Campbell. Agreed. How much better?
A fair amount.
DJ PK, when we come back, Frank Dolce talking Ute football. Stay with us right here on The Zone. Nominate the youth sports volunteer that you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Submit your nomination at KSLSports.com/contest and listen every Thursday to JJ and Alex for the winner. Help us celebrate the efforts of those volunteers making an impact with the Hercules Hero of the Week. Sponsored by Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals. DJ PK, and we're joined now by Frank Dolce, former Ute quarterback. Frank, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Frank, another week, another blood. You getting bored with these, or you savoring every ridiculous snap as they just stampede through whatever defense is in their way?
No, No, I mean, if you're asking me if I'm comfortable with this football team, I would say no. I still feel like every week they have to go out and prove who they are, and they've accomplished that so far. But and we talked about this a while ago. If Utah wanted to accomplish their goals, they had to win out. They had to win each week. And I still feel like that is should be the mentality. It's so funny when I watch this team offensively. There are times when I think, what are they? It seems like they're out of sync or not communicating, and then all of a sudden, they score a touchdown or something. It's been such an interesting offense to watch, because at times it feels really frustrating to watch, and at other times you're like, oh wow, look what they're doing, and look what they've accomplished, and then you look up and there's 55 points on the board. So I guess what I'm saying is I don't know exactly how to evaluate this offense other than to say we've talked about this too. There's this depth of talent across the offense where lots of different guys could make a significant play at different times during the game. It's like you don't necessarily have your core of, this guy's going to make 10 big plays in the game, and this guy's going to make. It's like we don't know. It's pick your own adventure. Which guy is going to make the big play this game?
I'm afraid we're going to be unfulfilled when this season ends. And what I mean by that is they've been playing good balls, no doubt about it. You could argue they've been playing the best ball they've played in who knows how long, maybe ever, in the way they're playing and just annihilating all these teams. But if they don't get into the postseason, I'm not talking about a bowl game. I'm talking about the playoff, obviously. Then we're going to be left wondering, what if? It's like going back to 08 and 04. What if? What if they got the chance? Now, in those cases, they weren't given the chance. Obviously, you can argue in this case that it's a situation where, they could have had the chance if they would have won enough games, but they didn't. So, anyway, I think that I might be ending up being unfulfilled, wondering just how good was this team playing as we got into the heart of the season.
Yeah, I feel like that as well. And as much as I feel a little bit like I don't know exactly how to evaluate the offense, I also feel like this team is a very difficult team to beat right now. And they do same thing on the defensive side, although that may have been the philosophy, is just kind of the bend don't break mentality last week, because it seemed like they were giving up some yardage, some plays, but they kept everything in front of them. I'm sure if things go well for Utah the next 2 weeks, and I think it's the couple favorable matchups for Utah, and then we reflect back on the end of the season and we look at we look at some of the scores, we look at some of the game stats, we look at all this stuff, we'll think, wow, that was a really good football team. And maybe we would be thinking that now, or maybe some people are thinking that now, without the loss to Texas Tech, without the loss to BYU, maybe I guess I would have a higher comfort level with the team's ability to perform, even though over the last several weeks they've clearly demonstrated that. So I guess my individual approach is it's still week to week, still this. When Utah started getting really good, it was the circle the wagons mentality, which they always go to, and I think they should, no matter what happens at the end of the season, you have to put yourself in a position to at least have a chance, and you don't do that without the next 2 weeks.
I do think the team has evolved. PK brought up part of this earlier, was that Ficklin has clearly given them big plays that they could not generate early in the year. Early in the year, the storyline in September was they move the ball 6 yards a snap, and it takes at least 10, if not 12 or 15 plays to go 80 yards for a touchdown. Now, Baylor, there's just multiple 70-yard runs. Wayshawn Parker is being used way more. I don't know why it took until now to get him 15 carries in a game, but the last 2 games he's gotten 17 and 15 carries, and he's producing big plays. And they've also added in Bray, who also gives them the explosiveness they've lacked. So part of this is the team evolving, new offensive staff figuring out who the guys are. Maybe it's freshmen figuring out, how they fit in college football in the case of Ficklin. Do you think the team's evolved and changed that much? And that's an argument, if the SEC says that about Florida State, it flies. It's not going to fly with, I don't think it's going to fly with Utah in the Big 12. But how much truth is there in it, you think?
I think it's, I don't fault anybody for not realizing earlier that that Parker should be getting 15 carries a game. I mean, I think maybe we had a sense of that might have to occur, but you're just trying to find, Beck's trying to find all of the right pieces. And that's with all of the new talent, with all the unfamiliarity, that's really difficult. I don't fault anybody. They're trying offensive players. How many times have we seen Smith Snowden carry a ball in the last several weeks? And he was a star in the beginning of the year offensively. And Lander Barton as well on the offensive side. It's just not happening as much because you've finally been able to evaluate some of the offensive talent and see them in actual game situations. So, yeah, I think it took a little bit longer. And now that talent's been identified, I think that's why the usefulness has increased, and the evolution that you're talking about. Bray is an incredible find, and you just don't expect that. You don't expect a true freshman to come in and have that kind of an impact. I would say the same thing about Ficklin. I keep thinking, is this just, circumstantial, or is this something that is repeatable for him? Can he break off 50 or 60 or 70-yard runs every game? And you know what? I don't know. Maybe he can. That, he seems to have that kind of talent. At the same time, under all this evaluation and evolution, I think there's a better understanding of Devin Dampier, and that is also important. So I'm not a fan of a 2-quarterback system, not at all a fan of a 2-quarterback system. I still feel like Dampier is your lead quarterback, and he should get the significant majority of the snaps. But I also, at this point, wouldn't mind seeing a little more Ficklin, a little more regular Ficklin. I'm not saying splitting time, but having that guy that throws the changeup and is hard for a defense to manage.
The boss turns 66 on Friday. Is this his last game in Rice-Eccles Stadium?
Oh, man.
The younger guys in the media wanted me to ask that question at his Monday press conference. Because I can get away with it.
Yes. I think that he thinks he can retire, but I don't think he can retire. I don't know what he's going to do if he's not coaching football. And maybe I am completely misunderstanding this situation. I may be completely mischaracterizing it, but I just don't see him doing anything but having the routine that he has now and being fulfilled in that routine. So is he going to retire? Man, I think there's many reasons he could, maybe should retire. I just don't see it happening.
Okay, but you're looking at him in his personal situation, which is understandable. I mean, I think he can find stuff to do. He'll slam 7-irons more into the dirt or into the grass than he can now. So there are things that he can do. But I think it runs deeper than that in some conversations that I've had in terms of how long do we let Scally or make Scally have to wait?
Scally doesn't have to wait. Scally could take a head coaching job anytime he wants.
But I said, do we? So I'm speaking from the Utah administration. Certainly he can do whatever he wants, but that's the point. How long do we risk losing him? I went personal pronoun, not myself, but from the Utah administration, realizing that he can put his name out there or have his representatives put his name out there immediately if he hasn't already done so. That's the point. How long do we want him? How long do we want to flirt with the possibility of him leaving to get one or two more years out of Kyle?
I like Morgan Scally a lot, and
I love him dearly.
And just to be completely objective, there's no guarantee that Morgan Scally is the next Urban Meyer or that he's the next Kyle Whittingham. There's no guarantee that occurs.
No.
And so I don't think that the blackmail game is meaningful here. I mean, I don't think you should make the decision of, do we have to move along from Kyle Whittingham because there's the threat of losing Scally? I don't think you can look at it that way. I think you just have to deal with it if that occurs.
No, they won't move along, but Kyle may do it for the better interest of the program.
Okay, that's the one thing that you've said today that I would agree with.
Finally.
That's not true.
I figure if I keep talking, I'll hit something.
It was just dramatic to say that, so that's what I said.
Nice. I like
it. Here's what I would say. Coach Whittingham, if Coach Whittingham could retire and Morgan Scally is elevated to head coach and Coach Whittingham maintains some sort of role on the staff, meaningful role on the staff, I could see that as the best opportunity for him to move along from the head coaching position. So that would be the circumstance I would say under which he would retire. Morgan Scally's elevated. Coach Whittingham still has a meaningful role on the staff with Utah football, and then he transitions from head coach to something else.
You just told us you don't like two quarterbacks, but now you're going with two head coaches.
Yeah,
I mean, if Kyle's there, the shout is enormous.
That's the only thing I've disagreed with what you said today.
Nice.
No, yeah, so here's what I would say about that. I would say that Kyle would, like, Coach Whittingham, I think in that scenario would be an unbelievable asset, and that's what he would be. I feel like he could hand over the reins. He could, wash his hands. I've done my duty. Now I'm here to just support the program. I think that he could manage that role really, really well. I don't think that he would go in there like, hey, I know that I'm not the head coach by name, but guess what? I'm still the head coach. I don't see that happening at all. I would see it much more the other way. Like, he could take on the role of the consigliere. Like, he's just there to provide support, advice, consult, be a sounding board, all of the great things without having to deal with all of the craziness and day-to-day stuff that a head coach has to deal with.
I think he does it, but I don't think he does it from inside the building. I think he does it from the 14th green at the country club.
Ooh, I hope I'm with him.
He can't. I mean, I know that he loves golf. He can't play golf every day. Like, then he would hate golf. Like, I just don't see that happening.
No, he wants to ski, because I've talked to him about he needs to live in Utah for the skiing. The grandkids, both he and I went through this literally of missing your boys' stuff because of work. Literally, we literally went through the exact same thing, and he doesn't want to miss grandkids stuff, and they're starting to. Yeah. Not that I mean everyone's getting older, but I mean they're coming of age to where that is going to be more of a possibility, and I think he could be okay. I mean, he may, and then maybe he want to reconnect with his alma mater, and advise that football program?
What the heck is wrong with you? When did you jump? You went so far off the reservation just now.
Well, I've lived in Arizona.
You know what, PK? I used to feel like we had some sort of like a thing. South Bay, we kind of grew up together, and
I walked the streets of Culver City.
And this is what I'm saying. And now, what happened to you? Like, this is.
Well, we were just brainstorming things that he could possibly do.
I didn't think it was that weird, Frank. He does stuff like that all the time. I just think it's a day that ends in Y. I think you're making too big a deal out of it. And Yak just seconded me. He's right there.
Well, we're brainstorming, a bunch of buddies.
Yeah. Well, let's continue to work in reality here. I mean, I don't know what in the world just happened.
I think the argument is that if you take what he says,
done that, hasn't he?
You take,
hasn't he advised Kalani? I bet. You know McBride better than I do.
I think he has advised literally everyone who snaps a football on the Wasatch Front.
That's what I'm talking about.
I mean, he has worked out high school offensive linemen at Juan Diego, I think 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning. And then he's over at Hunter, and then he's got a former player who's trying to raise money to do a program on the west side for kids who can't work out in the winter.
Redemption.
Mac is just
always sweet.
Mac is a machine. I need you to try. I need a ride. Where are you going, Mac? Ogden. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Mac has the energy that you see in Kyle, and he's had to find a different way to channel it, and he has, and they've flown. His son-in-law. Remember when John Baxter was at Fresno State? He's back.
He's still at Fresno.
He's at Fresno again. I mean, he's away at USC for a while. He was out briefly, but he was on social media this weekend because apparently he said something motivating / hilarious in the locker room, and it fired him up, and they won a game. Yeah.
Well, how about that?
So he goes and sees games. I mean, he's all over the place. Kyle has to figure out how to channel it, and it will be a major change. But he did say at the Big 12 Media Days, and assuming he's not just bald-faced lying, right? I mean, we all lie to ourselves a little bit, and times change, and you get new opinions. I get all of that. But when he said, I couldn't go out on last year, well, if that's determined, he could go out on this year.
Right.
They're 8-2, staring at 10.
He has an interest in dance, too. He can explore that.
Line dancing?
No, Dancing with the Stars. Cha-cha.
Oh, Dancing with the Stars. Then he should definitely retire because we all want to see that. I would watch that show for the first time if that happened.
When you said dance, yeah, that would be me, too. But I thought Riverdance. I thought maybe Riverdance.
Oh, okay. Riverdance, yeah.
Coach Ritt. Yeah, I could see him skipping around like that. I don't know. I think 10-2, if he can accomplish that, and then you could look back and say, look, we've gone through 2 terrible, horrible years of Utah football. I've rebuilt the program. The cupboard is full. There's a lot of talent on this football team. The staff is intact. I'm leaving it in a good spot. Like, all of those things align. All of those things align for a meaningful retirement.
Yeah, I don't
playoffs, it's super. I think it's a stretch to say you're going to get into the playoffs, and I think you're just going to have to say, you know what, if he stays another 5 years, is he going to get in the playoffs? Like, that's a huge roll of the dice.
Yep. All right, Frank, we appreciate it. Thank you. You're the man.
You guys are the best. Right. And hey, PK.
Yeah.
I hope you feel better. Get well soon.
Okay.
I
don't think so, but
yeah. All right, see you.
Okay.
Guys.
See ya. There's Frank Dolce, former Ute quarterback, joins us every week here on The Zone. All right, DJ and PK, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we have to give away jazz tickets. It's a Jazz Ticket Tuesday, and you're going to win on the other side of this break. Somebody is. Half an hour, every hour on the half hour, right here on The Zone all day long. Stay with us.
It's game week for the Cougars, and the KSL Sports Zone is getting you ready for kickoff. There was no Texas Tech hangover for the Cougars as they took their frustrations out on TCU. Now the Cougars hit the road for a huge Big 12 battle against Cincinnati. Listen all week long for the best coverage of Cougar football. Then catch College Football Saturday game day at 10 a.m. with a postgame show immediately following the game on KSLSports.com. Your home for the best coverage of BYU football is live on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's a Utah Jazz Ticket Tuesday. Who wants to go to a game? Do it, Yak.
It's Jazz Ticket Tuesday, and your chance to win tickets is right now.
Call this number now.
Call this number now.
Be caller number 12 at 801-575-ZONE. 801-575-ZONE. And you'll be on your way to Delta Center to see the Utah Jazz.
He fires the three. He hits. Oh, don't do me like that.
This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Utah Jazz, Oklahoma City Thunder, Friday night. You can see the champs at the Delta Center. Call right now, 801-575-ZONE. And if you don't win, we'll give away 2 more tickets at 9:30. Jake and Ben will have them at 10:30 and 11:30. And all day long, Hans and Scotty, Alex and JJ.
I believe the champs have the Clippers and the Jazz picks, potentially.
Hey, just a ridiculous pile of wealth.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's one thing to have the picks. It's another thing to use them wisely, and they've done a good job of using picks wisely. Nobody hits on everything, but they've hit on a lot.
Well, the higher the pick, the better the chance, I guess.
Yep, true story. But we've seen people whiff on ones and twos, so you never know. But you're right. Take your chances picking top 5 versus 25 or 15.
Yeah.
Question of the morning. This is a big one. BYU is in the exact same position as last season. They're 9-1.
I know.
And they are 6-1 in conference.
Going on the road.
First time they've been 9-1 since last season.
Yeah.
They need to win the last 2 games to reach the Big 12 championship game. Why will this year be different?
And I suppose if they win, they get in automatically. They don't necessarily need it. They could still potentially get in.
To the Big 12 title game? They might be the ones who win the tiebreaker, depending on how these games play out and who's in them.
Shockingly, the Utes lose, or
Yeah. Well, but if it were a 2-team tiebreaker, they would have the advantage over Utah. That's one of the teams they don't have to worry about so much. But at Cincinnati, they'd be in a bad spot if they lose to Cincinnati, and Cincinnati ends up on 2 losses, where they sit right
then
now.
Cincinnati loses the following week. You see what I'm saying?
That could happen. There's lots
of
of stuff that's out there.
Yeah. Not likely. The idea being for BYU, win the freaking 2 games, and it really boils down to beat Cincinnati. Because you beat Cincinnati, you'll beat UCF.
There are, to me, 3 potential answers to this that can all be argued. BYU's in the same position. Why will this year be different? One potential answer is, well, because they went through it last year. And they know better, and they know what they're up against. They got a bunch of guys now who are, and there's always new people on the team. It's not the exact same team, obviously, but there are a bunch of key players who know the deal, can send the message, and mentally it feels different. That's one. 2, I think the schedule is more favorable. Last year, in Game 11, they were going to play the eventual champion. They've already played Texas Tech, who would be the equivalent team this year. And they've already played Utah, who would be the closest thing maybe to another equivalent team. Now, they are on the road. That's the same, and it's still a quality opponent. It's certainly a game, that they could lose. So, 1, the experience of going through it. 2, the fact this schedule looks a little more favorable over the last 2 games than last year's did. I think going to Arizona State was a tough one. And the third answer to this is it won't be different. They will lose another game. And but to me, those are the 3 answers that sit out there.
Yeah.
Aside from the obvious, they're better. Then they do have new guys, right? And
I would take it a skosh deeper.
All right.
If it's still just on paper, is in the 2 ball games they lost, and it's not slamming on the kid, but he did throw 2 big time picks.
Okay. Yeah.
And
they're going to play turnover-free football this year, and they didn't.
Takes care of the ball.
Only 4 picks all season long.
Yeah. Now he could get one that could be devastating.
Sure. Yeah. Well, you agree. That's one potential answer to this is it won't be different. They will turn the ball over and they will lose the game.
Yeah, but they could still – they're not going to have a high percentage of turnovers. That would be completely out of character. So I have to go by what I've seen.
But 1 or 2 key turnovers. And maybe they're a fumble, not a pick. Maybe it's not the QB.
Right. Or he fumbles. Whatever.
I mean, at Texas Tech, it was on special teams. So
they could withstand those turnovers.
Beat Michigan, turn over 5 times and win the game? That's outrageous.
It could happen. It's not shocking. It does happen sometimes. You just, when you go with the analytics, you're basically playing the odds.
Mm-hmm. But teams do win 2-1.
Right.
I mean, they have those. If you just dig deeper in the analytics, like your win percentage, when you win the turnover battle by 1 or by 2 or by 3, the number changes. Lose by 1, 2, or 3, the number changes.
Understood. And we'll never, ever, ever know. But I believe if that last pass, not the last one, but the next to last possession, wasn't picked off, they beat ASU. They had all the mo.
They had the momentum. And ASU needed a big play, and they got it.
They got it.
Yeah.
They got it. They were.
I mean, you can argue that. We don't know, but you can argue it.
Their backs were against the end zone.
Yep.
On the field, you could feel it. You could feel the tension from the maroon and gold. It's like, oh, my goodness.
It's slipping away.
Yes. And he overthrows, what's-his-face, cutting down. We had him on the show each week, across the middle. And they pick it off. What was his name? Come on, his dad played in the NFL, played for the Cardinals.
We're struggling. I will get it for you shortly. That was last year, man.
It's irrelevant to the story.
It's right at the tip of my tongue.
I can see his face. I can hear
exactly.
his voice. And he even said, that ball catches me in stride. I got the angle.
Uh-huh.
Which, if you look at it, it's hard to argue that. But it happened. That's life. That's football. So,
Darius Lassiter.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know it starts with a D.
Brockmeyer takes better care of the ball.
Don't worry, Yaki gets worse, not better.
It's all potentially, though.
It is all potentially.
Yeah, you don't know in that situation. And you could say ASU's better than Cincinnati at the same points, and we can buy that, right? NFL receiver, NFL running back, superstar running back in college, no doubt about that. But at the same time, the week before they lost to Kansas, which I can argue was not better than TCU. And so they took care of TCU. So as far as the argument is, they're better equipped this year. You don't have to look at this week. You look at last week. And same situation, only the difference being you'd already had a loss. And here you didn't. Last year you didn't. But the way they played last week, it was like the resolve was there, the understanding of the situation. Hey, we're not going to blow this. Not like we did last year. And that was a devastating loss as it turned out to be, because it's a team you should have beat, whereas the Sun Devil game was a toss-up. And toss-up games, someone's win, someone's going to lose. You should have won the week before. And that week before was TCU, and they put it to TCU. So with that in mind, you got to believe that the team is better equipped. You've got a healthier L.J. Martin, right? Knock on wood, he stays healthy in this game. I don't necessarily think they need him to beat UCF, but I think they need him to beat Cincinnati on the road. A desperate Cincinnati team, which started off great, ascended to like 17 in the rankings, and then has fallen flat on their face. And so what are they going to do about that, right? So you're never going to find a more desperate Cincinnati team than Saturday night. That's just a fact. So can they match that? I think they can. I think special teams, oh, man, it's hard to be better than they were last year. It would just really be hard. So they were going to naturally take a drop to a degree, but they can't have any bleep-ups on special teams. You can't drop a freaking punt when you're transferring the ball from your hands to your feet. You can't drop a punt on the receiving end. You cannot do that.
Can't have shanks like they did against Texas Tech.
Right, but I'm assuming that with the change that they don't have that. Farron, he needs to come through. He's had a good season. He's had a couple of misses, but that's why we remember him, because he's been so good. You know what I mean? If he wasn't as good, the misses wouldn't be as pronounced. But, oh, my gosh, he missed it?
Yeah. We're freaking out.
That just means he's really good. So they got to do all those things, and if they do all those things, they can win. But Yeah, obviously, we don't guarantee anything. Your level of confidence, I'd say mine is about 70%.
That's a good number. That was actually about, I was debating between 70 and 80.
I don't know if I can go 80.
I don't like the travel. Travel is a problem for college kids.
I think they're leaving a day early.
You can do it, and they have done it. And usually when you see a team win when they're traveling 2 or 3 time zones, either you're seeing a really good team just take care of business, or you're seeing a bad team and they're just going to lose. It doesn't matter. You can give them the advantage.
Is Arizona a really good team? Because they just did it last week. Is Arizona better than BYU? No.
No.
And they just did it last week.
To who?
To Cincinnati.
Cincinnati. Thank you.
That's what
I
I'm
don't know why
talking about.
Kansas stayed on the brain after the interview. I'm
Okay.
like, Kansas.
No, I bring it up. Literally,
Right.
I watched the entire game.
The math is there. Did Utah break something in Cincinnati? Is there something about, and also I think
then they were a straw.
I get it. But
look at paper tiger. Is that the expression?
Look at their wins. Where's the win where you're like
Iowa State?
They played. That's the one. That's their best win of the year.
Yeah, but so many of these teams, that's all they got. What is Indiana's big win?
But to the point though is that they haven't beaten anyone as good as BYU. Indiana's big win is at Oregon.
Right.
And what's
but
Oregon's
my point
big
is,
win?
you only got like one big win.
Yeah,
a lot of these teams.
in these gigantic leagues, you got to play a bunch of teams that are in the middle and a bunch of teams that are at the bottom.
I don't think anybody breaks anybody. We broke them.
Okay.
The Devils freaking got worked by the Utes, and then the next week they come back and beat Tech.
They didn't get broken. Not everyone who loses gets broken, but sometimes
now
teams
the quarterback was back, so that's the obvious. But still, you got run off the field. Since they got good, that's their worst loss, by far.
If Cincinnati loses this game, is it just a case of Cincinnati being who they are, that they can't compete with the best teams?
I like that theory.
They split with Arizona and Iowa State, who we think are both good.
They're good.
But not very good. Not great.
Not elite.
Right.
But good.
They didn't play,
dangerous any given game.
They didn't play Texas Tech, right?
Well, maybe they'll get them in the final.
I don't think they're getting there. I don't think they're getting there.
I don't either. I still favor BYU to win.
Is Sorsby He's good. But is he playing through an injury right now? So
Yes.
he's going to get through.
Yeah.
And
He
how
was
bad is
limping
it?
the other day.
Yeah, because I thought he threw off his. It looked
Yeah.
like he was avoiding contact against the Utes and
And he
throwing off
didn't-
his
he didn't
back
run
foot
as much.
and sailing stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And on either side of those games, he didn't throw for any yardage at all. Now the Ute game, they had to throw a lot because they got behind by a lot right away.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't run their way back into the game. So in the game where his numbers, at least he threw for 200 yards in that game. He hasn't thrown for 200 before or after.
No, he's not the same.
And maybe he's throwing off his back foot because he can't push off
He
and
can't
drive
move
through. Right.
to the level that he could earlier in the season.
So that's another reason that BYU wins.
Yeah. Okay. I agree.
That Sorsby to win, Cincinnati needs Sorsby to be really good.
Well, he soars.
And he soars, and physically he just can't do it now. When they beat Iowa State, he was on fire, and they were on fire. It wasn't just him. And they were on fire in the first half. They came out in the first half, and the crowd was into it, and Iowa State got down and just they needed a halftime to regroup, and by then Cincinnati
and maybe
lost a little of their
this
edge.
is who they are. They're a decent team. They're not great. And they've had 3 losses, 2 in conference, and 2 of the 3 losses have been close.
And have been to teams that are decent.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So
So that's really not that bad.
Right. They beat decent Baylor and Iowa State.
Mm-hmm.
They lose to decent Nebraska and Arizona.
Right. Close games, though.
And BYU and Utah are going to be the best 2 teams they play all year long. And Utah worked them. Now, Cincinnati had to go and play a late-night game. The travel was working against them.
Different.
And the kickoff time was working against them because they were in the last TV window.
Yes.
So Cincinnati's playing at a weird time on their body clock. BYU does catch a break, and that this is not an 11 a.m. or a 10 a.m. game here, a noon game there. That's a break, 6 o'clock. All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5. You got a winner already, Ock? You're all good? All right. We'll give away more Jazz tickets to see Oklahoma City and the Jazz play Friday night at the Delta Center. We'll do that coming up at 9:30. Stay with us.
Whirls around and down.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone is your exclusive home of the Utah Jazz. And we want to send you to the Delta Center to see the Jazz in action. Listen every Tuesday for the Jazz Ticket Tuesday Sounder at 30 past the hour, every hour, all day long. And if you're caller number 12, you'll be on your way to an upcoming game.
Buy one, you'll get one free.
It's Jazz Ticket Tuesday, every Tuesday throughout the NBA season on your radio home for the Utah Jazz. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Got a question up on our Facebook page here. The debate is on. What should happen with the playoff? And the Big Ten keeps coming up with plans, all variations on the theme, and the SEC keeps swatting them down. I think we're going to have a 12-team playoff next year. It doesn't feel like they're going to agree on anything, and TV networks are like, guys, you got to sign a contract. We need a plan. We got other things to schedule. Everybody else has their act together. It feels like they're just going to have to push this forward another year and do this. The one that we got last year for the first time, we're seeing this year for the second. I think we'll get next year for the third time. But the Big Ten has reportedly presented a plan to conference commissioners, which is a non-starter with the SEC, for a 24-team playoff with Power 4 conferences each getting 4 auto bids. So how about this one?
Okay, so they just SEC thing, and no matter what you present, we're going to say no. Because we don't want you presenting
I think the core of all what the Big Ten wants, there may be some of that. There may be just some petty, like, we run this sport, you run this sport, we run there may be some of that. But also it seems like the Big Ten is really set on the 4 auto bids. And the SEC seems really not set on that. They seem dead set against that. So,
which I think is stupid.
What is stupid?
That they're dead set against it.
Because it's NFL-ish to you, and so get closer to the NFL model.
Well,
where you
they
know
act
you're
like
playing
they're
for
not going to get enough teams in, but they are.
Yeah.
So then you just get the at-larges. What's the difference?
What's the difference if you get 6, 7, 8 teams in? Which under this 24-team plan, I assume they're getting. They get 4 guaranteed. I assume they're going to get at least 2 more.
Right.
And some years 3 or 4, just depending on do the big teams play each other and beat each other up.
And so how many do you need?
I don't know if they'll be. You know, there's one plan out there, and I don't know that this will ever happen, but the Big Ten and the SEC will both go to 20 or 24 or whatever. And then they'll have their own playoff in their league, and then the champs will meet each other like the AFC and FC.
I just don't think they'll do that. No. I think there'll be so much backlash and so much screw you, I'm out, that they're going to spite themselves. Let the others in because you're going to beat up on them anyway.
Yep. Which is where we sit right now. Nobody's looking at the G5 this year thinking the G5 is going to win. And the G5 teams that did win before it was called G5, they've largely assimilated to those teams now. Not Boise State, but Utah and TCU.
The best favors that I agreed to do are the ones when it doesn't come to pass.
I
don't have to do it anyway.
I'll give you a ride. It turned out I didn't need the ride.
Right.
Okay.
But I look great.
Yep.
Willing to help my fellow man and woman.
And you never had to get your butt off the sofa away from that TV in the first place.
Let them have their opportunities to be in, and you'll beat them anyway. So what's the difference?
And you get buy-in from the rest of the country.
Right.
Instead of slamming the door with 48 teams
and here we are out in
locking
Utah,
out 20
all excited
states.
about BYU and Utah playing this week.
Yeah. All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, 9 o'clock hour coming up. More tickets to see the Jazz and the Thunder at 9:30. It's Jazz Ticket Tuesday. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. PK, the Monday press conference with Kyle Whittingham. I thought the next big question, we're not quite there yet because there's 2 games left in the regular season, and then we'll see what there is beyond that. And as Kyle pointed out while answering the question, they've moved the transfer portal window back from December to January. So while decisions can be made, they can also be reversed, and the intrigue can swirl on longer. But what's the long-term plan with 2 underclassmen quarterbacks who both look like they can win games? I mean, forever, and by forever I mean, the last 2 years. But maybe before that, but certainly it's been on full display the last 2 years. Why don't the Utes have a better backup quarterback? Well, now it looks like they've got him. But they got a freshman and a junior, right? So, 1, how do you get the money to retain them both? And 2, do you have the playing time to retain them both? And Kyle got asked that, and I think he addressed it, pretty much as well as you could in November. But he did say it's an administrative thing. I love that. I mean, you've got this $20.5 million as part of the House settlement, and how do you divvy that up between sports? And everybody wants football to win, but everybody wants the other programs funded, and it's going to take money to keep a quarterback, which I thought Kyle underlined with the quote, it's an administrative thing. I've recruited him, I've coached him up, but I don't get to decide how much money we get.
Well, I asked him a question, who's better?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought he handled it politically correct. They're different.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're not.
They are, because one guy throws the ball better downfield than the other.
Well, but he said they're different
He did.
in effectiveness.
He did.
Not one is better than the other.
He was very careful not to say that.
Right. But the thing that caught my ear is that Bird, the Fick man, has more zip. He said that. More zip. That's Z-I-P. Not two P's.
Just one.
Although there's a sports bar down in the Phoenix area that is Z-I-P-P. But that doesn't apply in this case.
Okay, random knowledge. Thank you.
If you're ever down there.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, if he can zip it better, then zip it good.
Is he Devo all of a sudden?
So go ahead and go along those lines. I believe that in 2026, the Fick man
will be the guy?
Yeah. At some point.
Oh, not out of the gate.
I haven't seen the schedule. I don't know what it is and all that stuff yet. But he's the future, and it's not the distant future. If he can zip it better, you have no passing attack now. I mean, you can get up there all the time, and you're right, so good for you, and say, well, we didn't have much in the throw game, but we didn't need much. All right, you got me there, but you're going to go through every season, every game, not
because
needing the throw game?
You're going to need it against elite teams. The run game is so good this year, and I don't know if it'll be that good again next year, and we're going to have to rebuild the offensive line, but the run game is so good right now.
They literally should lose all the offensive linemen because the senior's obviously going to go, and the other two take the money, boys.
Yeah, off to the NFL. Your first-round draft picks.
For what it's worth, the 2026 schedule has 3 straight home games to start the season.
So
they open against Idaho, host Arkansas, and host Utah State.
Yeah.
Arkansas with a new coach because they're on the list of teams that's already fired their guys.
Yeah. So with that in mind, you're going to have a better throw game, and as he calls it. And if this guy has more zip on the ball, he's a better thrower. You got to play the best guys.
Yep.
That's all it boils down to. That's your allegiance is to always play the best guys. Nothing else. Nothing gets in the way of playing the best guys who give you the best chance to win.
Once you let sentimentality put its nose under the tent, you're in trouble.
Right. So
you don't get any points for sentimentality.
This is what we've got going here. And then that doesn't mean Dampier can't have a role. It doesn't mean he stays. Maybe he goes to some other place. I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen. But when you're telling me that this young man over here has more zip on the ball, that's all I need to know. Because we've already seen he's an electrifying runner. That's a fact. So we've got that covered. And as crazy as it may sound, he may be a better runner than Dampier.
That is crazy.
But I haven't seen that enough yet to think that.
I get it, but you saw the 2 long runs against Baylor, and you've seen some other runs.
Right, but I mean, Dampier has the ability to dance around, go left, go right, go up, move back. I haven't seen Birdman do that yet. I've seen him in a straight line just haul.
Just fly away from everybody.
Right, so we know he can do that. So what's it going to be when he has to move around a little bit and dance around and buy time? Dampier's excellent at that.
Well, how explosive will it be when he's an every down guy and he gets all the hits and all the bumps and all the bruises? Maybe something worse than that, maybe playing on a sprained ankle or whatever, because Dampier is 102 carries into the season. Ficklund's got less than half of that. He's at 47. Mm-hmm. So how often do you get hit, and how do you hold up over the course of a season?
Yeah, but I mean, you can't not play somebody who's better because I'm worried about him getting hurt.
Oh, I agree. That's not the point I'm making. The point I was making was what you said about we've seen him fly in a straight line, but what's it going to be like when he's the guy and there's more snaps and you see the one where, okay, now he's in traffic and yet he's got to get 2 more yards, push the pile forward, or cut and drag this guy an extra yard or 2.
And Dampier does that.
Dampier's gotten hard yards. Yeah. You know, it's 3rd and 5 and he gets 6.5. And with Ficklin, we've seen him more on the edge just fly away from people.
And I trust Dampier in those situations. But
if Ficklin's an every snap guy, he's not going to average 9 yards a carry.
He's never going to stretch the defense.
Not going to happen. They don't fear it. They know not to fear it. They've seen all the underthrown deep balls, and that's why Ficklin is going to win out here.
He's
at some
the
point.
Reaper, and they don't fear the Reaper.
I was surprised when you said next season because I thought by the start of next season. You said some point next season.
Hmm?
I thought by the start.
Maybe so.
Yeah, with a spring ball and a fall, and now they have confidence because Kyle's so big on turnovers. And if it is Morgan next year, Morgan's going to be just as big on turnovers as Kyle was.
It's just Jason Beck is going to have the guts. So they had that situation with
Rodgers at running back.
Running back doesn't matter.
I thought he stayed loyal to Rodgers.
Quarterback is far more important.
I get that, but I thought he stayed. I thought Parker should have emerged over Rodgers a few games before he did.
And who was the kid who came up from L.A.? We had his high school coach on. Was his name Williams? And he was battling.
Oh, you're talking years ago when Troy Williams was the starter as a JC transfer. And they had a good junior year, but they didn't cash in on a senior year. They went to Huntley as a sophomore.
Right, but
again, they were playing for the long run.
Troy Taylor had the guts to make that call, and it was the right call. Now, does Beck have the guts to make that call, turning his back on his 2-year starter, turning on his back on a guy who helped him essentially get the Utah job and the fat raise?
Yeah. But back to play the best guy.
Right. But we're dealing with emotions. It's
It's
not a mathematical 2 + 2 = 4 at all times.
I think there's a lot of loyalty there.
Yeah.
And I thought we saw it, and that's why Rodgers was getting carries that I thought could have gone to Parker. Well, Rodgers came from New Mexico, and Parker didn't. And it took a long time. Now Parker emerges
from Washington State. I think that's even.
No, because the offensive coordinator has more say than the running back coach, I think.
If he wants it. But normally they let their position guys determine who plays.
I don't see any other reason that why in October Parker is getting limited to 6 or 8 carries a game.
Did they win those games if they have Parker carrying 15 times?
Maybe the BYU game. I don't think they win the Texas Tech game, but maybe the BYU game. But I thought play the best guy.
I think they did at the time.
I don't know. Well, agree to disagree. I don't think they did.
You were all jacked up on they got to get Merriweather the ball more.
Yeah, now he's hurt. Well, he's open downfield, but they can't get the ball to him.
He's on his 3rd team because he isn't good enough.
Okay, but he's still open. And when he is open, even if it's only a few times, get him the ball.
Right. That's why you put in Bird.
I know. I agree.
Yeah. But does Beck have the ability to change that? Can he actually even do it? You can argue that, well, having Dampier leave makes the decision much easier. Now, it weakens your team. You don't want him to leave.
Now you're without a backup quarterback again.
Well, they've got other guys coming in. So
maybe one of the unproven guys will step into the role.
We'll see about that, yeah. I mean, who would have thought that
maybe they won't need him.
Ficklin would be such a dynamic player this year, but yet he has been. So there's bunch of things that can still happen. So from that perspective, that's why I said some point during the year. Because...
Well, what is Ficklin's mindset? Is that good enough to keep him here? Don't you assume that somebody else is out there looking at him tampering after all the interviews we've had, all the people we've talked to?
Sure, and I also assume that Utah's out there looking too. Works both ways.
I get it,
but that's a one-way deal.
But them out there looking doesn't help them keep Bert Ficklin.
But so as they get somebody better.
Well, that would be interesting. I don't see that happening. I would expect Dampier or Ficklin as a starting quarterback next year. That someone else comes in over the top of them.
Well, I didn't say over the top of them. I said in place of Ficklin.
So Dampier is the starter and Ficklin leaves and they bring in someone else.
If it happens, it happens, yeah. And then you go out and you find somebody else. I mean, I know our guys, they're sinless, but
everybody's reaching out.
Yeah. And so who's to say, especially if Ficklin leaves early and you got somebody, that's how they got Bachmeier. He's going to come in for a year and sit behind Retzlaff. And so if Ficklin leaves, then Dampier is the established starter. So you bring in somebody who's a freshman and actually has a redshirt year.
We're going to get you up to speed.
Yeah.
Maybe redshirt, maybe there's an injury and you're the guy this year. We got to get you up to speed right away.
And obviously it went haywire with Retzlaff's issue.
But they landed on their feet.
Yeah. And then it's like, oh, man, I told you, I kept saying all summer it was going to be Bear, and it was. And good for them. Now they're set up. Looks like they're set up until he's done and this Ryder kid comes in and away they go. We'll see if it plays out that way. I don't know. So many things can happen between now and then. And we see crazy things happen just in such a short span of time, too. But all those things, so...
It's good to have a long-term plan, but so many crazy things happen, you got to be ready to adjust.
You got to be prepared for everything. If Ficklin wants to go or Dampier wants to go, you say, well, thank you. I wouldn't necessarily get in a bidding war because I don't know that if either one of those guys go, that it has a major impact on wins and losses.
Well, if you do get in a bidding war, assuming they're capped out, if that's really how the rules work, if you pay 2 quarterbacks, you're not going to pay another portion of the roster, and that'll get you beat. So.
Well, yeah, but see, that's where, and Dillingham said this just yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
He said, we're doing great on fans and boosters and students. I mean, they've sold out every game.
Mm-hmm.
First time, I don't know, however long. And he said what we are lagging behind, and he constantly talks about this, he beats the drum almost every day, is we need the businesses. And they need to step up. And why wouldn't you want to have our guys associated with your business? And so from that perspective, yeah, that's the same thing here. They need these businesses, the business people who've got the cash to offset what they're lacking. Yeah.
Make Bert Ficklin and Devin Dampier the face of your business. Make Bear Bachmeier the face of your business.
Now, we're already seeing Dampier does a water ad here. We've played several times.
Yeah.
So I think that they can get that.
Yeah.
But it's going to be the other folks because you've got the money, so you've got all that stuff going on.
I was watching the Utah State Weber State basketball game, and there was Dan there that ran a few times where the 5 basketball players all had a line in the ad and were passing the basketball off screen, and then the next guy caught it. They were selling cars, so it can be done. It's out there.
Yeah. So I don't know that they're in a bad spot, but everybody wants more spot, a better spot. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everybody's chasing Ohio State, and Ohio State wants more.
And then there comes a time to where if, like they did, BYU did with Marion, here's what we got. You want more? You're free to leave.
Coaches can't give it away if they don't have it.
And so he left. And I have no idea what he's doing in Miami. I haven't paid a lick of attention. And I don't know what he would have done here. But he had a nice season last year, obviously, particularly with the special teams and all that. So with that in mind, away you go. Right? Here's the quote. Our casual fans, unbelievable. We've sold out every game. We're activating the 99%. Where we're still missing is the city. The businesses in the city, the big-time, high-end donor base.
Where's my billionaires?
Yeah. And that's going to cap them at a certain level.
Mm-hmm.
They can be good, but you're going to have to get the diamonds.
Diamonds in the rough, sneak up on them, and how often can you do that if Texas Tech is out there tens of millions at a time. All of a sudden, you're the Rays trying to take down the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Dodgers and the Jays.
You can be 7, 8, 9 wins, maybe competitive, particularly if you dummy down the non-conference schedule. But can you get 11? Probably not.
How often can you win the league and grab a playoff berth? Yeah. Once or twice a decade if you're lucky.
Right. So you're going, and I think it applies for Utah also. It's the same thing. Apparently BYU's got them, from what we understand. And somebody like Utah, and I just spoke of the one here down in the desert, they need to get that. And how are you going to be able to do that? Right? So if you can do that, then you can have it. I mean, he said yesterday, just Kyle, speaking of he just went right where the top 25, you're going to find out, is going to be the budget. He said it again yesterday. And he has such credibility when he says that stuff because of his longevity, and he doesn't have to worry about losing his job or winning over people. So he can tell it like it is, particularly as he takes the broad perspective, big picture view of college football. And he's telling us truth. And he's not saying it. Dillingham's trying to sell it because he's only 35. Kyle's 66 in a few days, right? So away he goes. So there you go on that. So when he says this, he's appealing to the businesses, but it's not really going to affect his life either way because he's on the end side of it.
But when two guys at different ends of the career arc are saying the same thing, and they're both winning way more than they're losing, so they're not making excuses.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what you're supposed to do as a reporter, is get more than one source and make sure they're different, that someone's not echoing what somebody else said.
Right.
And, okay, they live in different states, they got different backgrounds, they're different ages, but they're both winning, and they're both seeing the same thing. You know, they both admit, yeah, we got more than this school, who we thump in September by 50, because we got more than them.
Yeah.
But then we lose to this school in October because they got more than us. And it's just pretty straightforward.
And I think Ficklin was one of those gems.
Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. He's not exactly 5-star guy where Ohio State, Alabama, and Georgia are all on him.
Now it's going to turn out the arc is certainly up. We're all of us are excited about his potential.
But the more he plays, the more those schools are going to come calling.
Maybe so.
Yeah. All right, Yak, you said you had a little news. What are you seeing?
On 3's reporting, Steve Wilfong and Pete Nacco said that Arizona State quarterback Sam Levitt is being actively shopped at, quote, a high level to other programs with the plan of entering the transfer portal when the window opens on January 2nd. They are hearing that his return to Arizona State for a third year is, quote, doubtful, and he is being represented by his brother, Dallin, as a representative from CAA, the agency he's signed with.
His brother Dallin, local tie.
So might be in the market for ASU looking for a quarterback.
You were telling us quotes that the coach and the AD weren't exactly on the same page talking about Levitt's future.
Oh, they can't afford him.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to the NFL.
So they better cash in.
He hasn't shown up.
Yeah.
The last I saw, he was at best a second-day pick.
Mm-hmm.
And that's dicey.
Yeah. Second-day pick. Hope you go to the right team.
Might even be a third day.
Catch on as a backup.
He hasn't done that much.
Right.
But money talks, man. And if he can go get himself a bigger deal, so be it.
DJ PK, we got to take a break. When we come back, it's Utah Jazz Ticket Tuesday. We'll give away tickets to the Friday night game, the World Champs. Oklahoma City will be in town. We got free tickets on the other side of the break. Stay with us.
It's game week for the Utes, and the KSL Sports Zone is getting you ready for kickoff. After a blowout victory on the road against Baylor, Kyle Whittingham and the Utes return to the Hill for a showdown against Kansas State in the final home game of the season. Listen all week long for the best coverage of Utah football. Then, catch College Football Saturday game day at 10 a.m. with the postgame show immediately following the game on KSLSports.com.
Let's go then. Let's go, baby.
Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is live on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Slacker Radio Headlines brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary. Call them at 801-210-6800. Visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. It's So Utah Jazz Ticket Tuesday. Yak, let's do it. Let's give them away.
It's Jazz Ticket Tuesday, and your chance to win tickets is right now.
Call this number now.
Call this number now.
Be caller number 12 at 801-575-ZONE. 801-575-ZONE. And you'll be on your way to Delta Center to see the Utah Jazz.
He fires the three. He hits. Oh, don't do me like that.
This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Oklahoma City, Friday night. If you want to go, call right now, 801-575-ZONE. If you don't win now, Jake and Ben will have tickets at 10:30 and 11:30 this morning. Jazz are going to be in L.A. tonight playing the Lakers. Pregame at 7:30, tip-off at 8:30 here on the Zone. LeBron James has been upgraded to questionable for tonight's game. Could make his season debut. Expected to be a game-time decision. Think they integrate him flawlessly into the lineup? They're off to a 10-4 start.
No. I think they integrate with him.
Well, that might lead to a bump in the road. Got a good thing going.
That's on them.
Yeah. There is a theory that integrating star players back in can be a little bumpier than you think, even if in the long run it
Well, that's on the other guys.
Great.
That's your fault, not his fault.
Austin Reeves, 28 points a game on how many shots a game is Austin getting up right now? FGA's 18 shots a game. That figures to go down. I don't think he'll be getting 18 shots.
Okay.
But he's been lighting it up.
Yeah. But LeBron's not changing his game.
It seems unlikely.
Yeah. Unless Austin Reeves goes up to Redick and say, hey, no kings, buddy. I'm the guy.
Aha.
The king is back. I don't care.
I got it going on.
This is my and Luca's team now.
Seems unlikely.
Not the 41-year-old.
Oh, that'd be awesome. In his pregame interview.
You know it. We know it. I know you know it. You know I know it.
I know you know I know it.
Larry the Laker knows it.
Well, that's the most important thing.
And away you go.
It's about time to get Larry the Laker back on the air, isn't it?
Still football season.
I don't know what he's doing.
If LeBron makes his debut tonight,
I don't even know if
make
he's
a judgment
alive.
call. What are you, the 49ers head coach?
I don't know who the guy is.
Has he posted on social media? Of course, someone could be running his account. He's been quiet. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's got a staff.
Yeah,
he's got a staff, a little army.
He's not alone in Mom's basement eating the meatloaf down there. All the things people used to send in, where he'd come on and tweak them.
He did show up at Pac-12 Media Day one year.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I was in L.A. for a lot of years. I just came breezing by the table
every year but one.
I'm Larry the Laker.
No, I think we'd had him on or something, and so he knew. He follows sports, and he showed up. And
we definitely had him on before the Utes went into the Pac-12.
Yeah. And so he shows up, and he's standing off to the side there in a commercial break, and he's obviously not a player or a coach or whatever. And says, hey, we chat.
Walks up, starts talking.
And I said, well, it was at one of the movie studios they used to have. And I said, well, how'd you get in? I just told him I was here for the Pac-12 Media Days.
No pass, no nothing. Just rolls in.
His last tweets were a couple weeks back. So
okay, so he was alive as of 15 days ago, and
and I got a charge out of it.
I told him I was here. They let me in. We're good.
Because there was one time. This was a few years later. This was in the early days, and then a few years later, my wife was going to meet me. And so we rent the car, and then she takes the car so she can have the car for the day, right? Because we're there all day. And she told me that they were giving her crap. She was going to come up and because I wouldn't have known where she parked, right? And they were giving her crap about coming up. And I think eventually she got up there. I think she actually saw Kyle, and he said okay or something. And so she did get in, but that one year he just shows up, and I thought, wow, I'm even get all this, you got to go through metal detectors and everything, and I just said I was here. Okay, made me laugh, just like you did.
Jazz and Lakers tonight, 8:30 here on 97.5 The Zone. And the NHL, the Utah Mammoth, will be on 1280 The Zone. 7 o'clock for their pregame show. The puck drops at 8 o'clock there in San Jose to take on the Sharks. They just lost in overtime again, gave up a goal with 5 seconds left. They were so close to victory, but it slips away. They settle for 1 point instead of 2.
Mm-hmm.
We talked a lot of football today. We had Frank Dolce on. We also had on Tim Fitzgerald, the publisher of GoPowercat, part of 24/7 Sports. And Tim Fitzgerald may cover Kansas State, but I thought that was a pretty cold-blooded analytical assessment of the game. And he talked about up and down K-State has been. Wouldn't recommend playing an international game to open the season. They came back, and he said they didn't really play well until they had a bye week.
Okay, how about TCU and ASU next year? I think they play a season but earlier, not first game, but in September in London.
Wow.
I wonder if
I do remember the announcement. I wonder if they have a bye after it.
I believe they do.
I think that might help. The NFL teams all take byes on the way back. I don't know why Iowa State and K-State were advised not to, but he talks about that and all that. But then he talked about the game. He's like, the D-line against the run is spotty. This is the wrong team to be up and down against. He thinks blowout. He thinks he's coming. He's excited to come, but he's
more negative than the Fort Worth Telegram, Star Telegram, I think it's called. The beat writer for TCU was last week.
Right.
I think his name's Steve Johnson.
And he was right.
Right.
Steve was right.
But he was more positive about TCU.
He was.
He
wasn't very positive, but he was more.
And I think this guy's going to be right too.
Tim is anticipating 40 or 50 something to 10 or 20. This is another 3, 4, 5 touchdown win for the Utes.
I don't see how it's not.
I know. They're not good against the run, and you know what the Utes are going to do every single snap. They give up 150 yards a game, which is not a good number, 10 games deep into the season, and the Utes are over 275 per game.
And then I thought last week the Utes defensively were just having fun with Baylor. It seemed like they were just blitzing every which way, and if they got beat over the top a few times, they didn't care because it wasn't going to cost them.
Mm-hmm. And even though they gave up 28, I felt like there was a garbage touchdown in there, plus they pulled one back with the pick six.
I know.
So I really felt like they only gave up and they are susceptible to big plays, but it's hard in a whole game to sustain anything when that's the only thing you can get.
Right. And their leading receiver is out.
For K-State, yeah. Yeah, they don't have the stable of receivers that TCU had. There's not even close. Even healthy, they wouldn't. And now they're missing their best guy.
Right. This is going to be a blowout.
Yeah, Baylor, not TCU. Sorry. Mixing and matching there.
TCU's got some good wide receivers. But
McAllister?
Yeah.
I just thought you meant TCU's receivers.
Well, Manjack and McAllister are good.
Baylor has 4 really good receivers.
And Michael Trigg.
They were missing one. You go with 3 receivers and trip a tight end, yeah. I don't know why they didn't throw to him at the goal line, but 4 points in a 28-point game.
Don't matter.
So, yeah, Tim came away. Go listen to that interview wherever you get your podcast, and you'll come away with the idea that the Utes are going to win, and they're going to win big. They're going to run early. They're going to run often, and they're going to run well.
It'll be a beautiful senior day. Literally, figuratively, emotionally, every which way.
Put an exclamation point on it.
Yeah, I don't see any other way. It's really amazing, just pounding team after team after team.
Yeah, they are. They played one close game this year. 2-ish. Tech was a 3-point game in the fourth quarter.
1 3/4.
Yeah. And the other games have been completely out of hand, and it looks like this one will get completely out of hand.
You going to, probably on TV, but especially when you're at the stadiums, you can feel this is going to be...
The whole crowd knows?
Yeah, the
whole crowd's figuring it out.
You can just see it.
Yeah.
Like down in the Rose Bowl, it took like maybe 2.5 series offensively.
Everybody knew.
Yeah, you just everyone knows, and we're just right now we're just waiting until there's zeros at the end of the fourth quarter. And I've been at so many stadiums and so many games over the years, It just seems like that feeling is
That was the
rarely
vibe
wrong.
against Colorado. That was the vibe against ASU. That was the vibe against Cincinnati.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only good thing is it's not at 8:30. Well, for the fans. I mean, you can see them. They leave in droves. It's a butt kicking.
The
it's
ASU
late.
game was driven by the weather.
They were all gone then.
That was, yeah.
That should have never been played.
But even the Cincinnati good weather, they were still taking off. Like, it's.
Oh, yeah, they make me park my car way up.
It's 10:10.
It's going to change this week. But I go at that late at night, so I don't have to walk all the way up the hill. I
And
go.
move your car.
Yeah, and you can see thousands of people leaving.
Streaming out of the stadium.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can see people like look at their watch and like, well, it's 10 after 10. They're not going to start the third quarter till 10:30, and this is over. Let's go home. We'll be home, depending on where you live. You get home 10:45, 11, 11:50, whatever. Watch the rest of it. Go to bed. Yeah,
People have lives.
Yeah.
And so now maybe you don't see that this week. Maybe you do at the end just to beat traffic.
But at least it'll be fourth quarter, not second quarter.
Right. Oh, yeah. I've seen
Halftime.
Leaving at halftime.
Time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've walked to the back of the press box and looked down at halftime just to kill time.
Oh, if you look out the west side?
And you can
with the
see the
tracks?
cars. You can see the cars. You can see people walking the tracks. You see the cars streaming down the hill towards
Nick
the city.
Saban would have a fit.
Nick would not be.
Of course, they
happy.
never played 8:30 games in November.
No, he
at
didn't have
home.
to deal with that.
Yeah.
No, it's Alabama.
Right.
They're kicking off in the middle of the day.
Right. So I don't blame them in those situations. Games decided. You got to get up. You got to do stuff. You see, and maybe you're just your body clock because you're working every day. You don't stay up till 1 a.m. anymore. That's more for the college kids.
Yep.
I mean, on the weekends, I rarely went to bed before 2 a.m. Now, my gosh, I'd be paying for it till Thursday the following week. I mean, because you got to go to work, you got life.
Yep.
You just don't do that as you get older.
Yeah. James Franklin, Virginia Tech, the $49 million buyout goes down to $9 million. He had offsets in that, so he negotiated something, got $9 million, and now he's moved on to Va Tech, where if he goes out and wins 9 games, they're going to be thrilled. Get his 9 or 10 wins, call it good.
Yeah, to start, considering where they've been.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I don't see why he isn't. And that's why, firing these coaches, it sucks during the season, but they get a huge advantage.
Starting next year. Now
yeah,
he knows. Now
right
he knows
today.
He knows his team. He can start watching film and assessing guys on the roster.
Yeah,
and he can start assessing.
Recruiting. You don't necessarily lose a whole recruiting year.
Right.
It takes time to build relationships. I get it, but
he has ties down there. I was reading that he's got ties in the whole. I forget what that. There's a name for that region, but whatever it is, Tidewater, Virginia. I don't know, something. It's escaping me. But anyways, he's got roots there, so he'll plug back in.
The Newport News area. Yeah.
Virginia Beach.
My wife's, my mother-in-law's sister lived there. So I know the area fairly well for not having spent a lot of time there. But yeah, and he's not missing a beat. So the transfer portal, he's seen eyeball himself a bunch of kids play. Yeah. It's a brilliant move. The guy's certainly qualified, is he not?
Clearly.
Yeah.
I mean, how is this any different than the job he had before, right? I mean, he went into Vanderbilt and did good work. He'll go in here and do good work.
Right.
All right, DJ PK, when we come back, your feedback next. Stay with us.
Utah is the poster child for why the playoffs should expand. They are playing good enough football. They're playing great football. I meant to say this, but I just thought of it. This morning I'm driving in after I go to the gym, I was at the gym, and I had on listening to the show, the college sports station, and Cannell, he equates BYU's win over Utah to Georgia Tech's win over Clemson. And that Dusty guy played linebacker at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
They do
Did
it in
he jump him?
They do it in separate
places. Yeah, a lot of satellite shows like that.
He wanted to come through the satellite, yeah. What?
Utah's way better than Clemson.
I know.
Well, why did Cannell do that?
Disrespecting our teams out here just bugs the crap out of me. And I would love for Utah to get a shot. I'm not saying I want it at the expense of BYU because I don't care. Either one's fine. I would love for both. But man,
gonna need some chaos.
I know. I got it.
That first poll came out
right now,
and there was a path, but the path depended on chaos and teams folding under pressure or coming up shorthanded because of injuries or just getting beat by a team playing a great game. And there hasn't been any of that except for Oklahoma over Alabama, which arguably is just going to keep a team in front of them, make it harder to get there. That's one case where they wanted the favorite, Alabama.
I don't think it's arguable. I think it's a fact. How do you keep Oklahoma out? You don't.
Oklahoma doesn't. Texas might still leapfrog back in because they get to play A&M. But Oklahoma doesn't have that kind of game on their schedule down the stretch.
Yeah, but
if
who
they
sees
take a loss,
Texas winning?
Oh, I think A&M will win. But I didn't think A&M was going to be down 30-3 to South Carolina. I haven't watched them a lot this year since we saw them play Utah State. And, yeah, I don't know. It's a rivalry game, weird things happen. But, yeah, I would pick A&M. We got a lot of reaction here. Another day, another plan. The Big Ten reportedly presented a plan to conference commissioners for a 2014 playoff with 4 power conferences getting 4 bids each. How about this plan? Vic, at one true Aggie. I just don't care anymore. They're going to eventually get their way, and the entire playoff will be the whole SEC and Big Ten, plus a representative from the Big 12 and the ACC if it survives, and nobody else. Who cares? Vic is over it. The golden goose.
Well, if you're a Utah State fan, I understand that philosophy. Yep. And what you have to do is just have fun in your team in your so-called level.
BYU Utah Jazz philosophy at playoff bogey. 16 is the sweet spot, in my opinion. 24 is too many.
I agree.
I can see that. The bottom 10 in the polls just change all the time. They're just swapping them in and out. I think most years there's a huge break somewhere around 15. A massive break. Now, there's also inside that top 15, there's a break. And I think we've seen Utah bump up against that, playing Ohio State in a Rose Bowl and Penn State. And I think we saw it in the playoffs last year. Most of the quarterfinal games were pretty lopsided.
Yeah.
So essentially, when they go to 24, what I'm saying is they're letting in a third tier. There's 2 tiers. Those teams down there, they're good. But they're not very good, and they're not great. The greatness is going to reside in the top 5 most of the time.
Okay, okay, fine, yeah. But that doesn't mean that you make it smaller. We don't need an
No, and that's why.
team.
And we're at 12, and we're enjoying it. And the ratings show most people enjoy it. And 16, but I can see at 24 where people would be like, yeah. The Cinderella in football to a degree. I mean, is 22 really going to go on some 4-game run? Is that really going to happen?
No. It's hard to get hot in a singular game. Shooting comes and goes.
Rob says, I'm not holding my breath, but the right solution is 16 teams like the SEC proposes and multiple auto bids per Power 4 like the Big Ten proposes. 3 teams per Power 4 with 4 at large is perfect. The weekend before Christmas be like Thursday of March Madness.
Yeah, but the problem is that you're not going to get the same bids as the Big 12 as the
No, they're going to get buys. They're going to get buys.
That's the one good thing that I like about this 24 is the autos would be the same.
Right. But the other issue though is that then we'll be whining and complaining about seating. Who gets home games and buys, and who gets always gets sent on the road. The athletic department doesn't make as much money.
Sometimes you got to go win.
Yeah. All right, TJ and PK, we're out of time. Jake and Ben are next. They've got Jazz tickets to give away to see the world champs, Oklahoma City Thunder, in town Friday. They'll be giving away tickets at 10:30 and 11:30 on a Utah Jazz Ticket Tuesday. Stay with us.